Just do a little promotion.
Whatever you want, bro.
All right. What are you calling it? The Tiny Ghost?
The Ghost Show. The Tiny Ghost.
How do you spell it so people can find it? Is it just the Ghost Show?
Yeah, just the Ghost Show. For Twitch, it's at Little Ghost Ari on Twitch. At little_ghost_Ari on Twitch.
Live on the Ghost Show. At little. Here, help me out here. For the Twitch. I'll tag you in it as well.
It's the same as my Insta. So you can just
Live on the Ghost Show at Little Ghost Ari on Twitch. Tune in.
Toonami.
Yeah,
Do you remember Toonami?
I do.
That shit was
The
best.
shit. The shit. And they had that like animated fool with the helmet on to like sound real official like to let you know what was about to be on.
There was like a scene like because they always had like they were like the break in between. They're like kind of like the disc jockey of cartoons. You know, like
Yeah.
this like animated disc jockey of
Oh yeah, he's like yeah.
of my childhood. But there was like this one scene where I remember it so vividly, but I tried my hardest to find it. I think I might have made it up in my head. But I swear there was like this thing that they did where there's an invader on the ship, like some like fungus was like taking over the ship. Like it was like venom almost. And he goes back there. And he's like, all right, guys, I don't know if I'm coming back. So Tom from Toonami is signing off.
He just
I
dips
remember
out.
crying, bro. I remember crying. And it just like goes into the mouth of this monster.
Like shit just got real.
Yeah, dude. And I was like, what is this? I was like 6. It was way too real for me. I was like, and then like it happened at the same time like Nickelodeon had the Thornberry movie come out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, who's that, Bobby? Like the little
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
the crazy one. He was his parents died, and they were doing a flashback to like their memorial service where they put their bodies on a raft and lit them on fire and sent them out to sea.
What the fuck?
This is a Nickelodeon like.
Yeah, this is a little,
like,
a little too
animated
deep
movie.
for children. Yeah.
And also, so it was like the emotions of that were riding high, and then I'm like, okay, I just cried once today. Now I gotta go. I'm like, time to watch some fucking Dragon Ball Z or some Sailor Moon. Let's go to Toonami.
Yeah, let's relax a little
And then
bit.
fucking Toonami Tom or whatever his name was like, I'll see you guys later. And he just walks into the mouth of the fucking of a demon.
That's good.
And it fucked me up, bro.
I feel
To
it.
this day, I still think about it. Like,
Wow.
when will I walk into the mouth of said demon? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
when is my demon time?
Demon time. I feel like, to a certain extent, life's a pretty big demon on its own.
Right?
Like, have you not already? Like,
Life is, well, it's like a beautiful demon, right?
oh, for sure.
Because it's like a,
It's goods and bads. It's like polar opposites all the time.
for sure. And it's like, that's why I like think when people take drugs, they really freak out because it's,
Oh, yeah.
what side of the demon do you get to see?
Yeah.
Or I guess it's like, what side of divinity do you get to see?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a demon. It's more of like the divine
Yeah.
that you're peering into. And
Yeah.
sometimes it shows you the evil side of the divine, and sometimes it shows you the beautiful side, and sometimes it shows you a concoction of both.
Yeah. And you're
That-
like, I don't really know how I feel right now.
Yeah, you're like, it's way too intertwined. This is too much. My brain.
Yeah, dude, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like I said, I took shrooms this weekend and not this weekend, but the weekend before that. And dude, I had like a great time the first time, and then I took them the day after and had not a bad time, but a questionable time. Like, you know, you get caught in the loop.
Yeah.
And you're just like, it's the same thoughts over and over again, and nothing can really pull you out of that except for like someone sober giving their best attempt to pull you out of that. Like,
Sometimes that makes it worse for me.
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Sometimes they're like, "Hey, man, you're fine." I'm like, "You have no fucking idea
Yeah.
what I'm going through."
Yeah, dude.
Like,
I
fine. That's like that you're a demon convincing me that I'm fine, which would make me feel like I'm getting trapped even further and deeper.
Dude, I've had that. That's crazy that you say that, because legit, I've always felt that like I was kind of alone in these experiences, because I've literally convinced myself that I've gone crazy a few times. And that's why I turned down your offer earlier. Like, I don't feel comfortable enough with my own psyche to be able to pull myself out of situations like that. Like, I always learn from it, but if I have the choice, I'm not going to willingly delve into that, especially when I'm feeling all right now, you know?
Or especially like when you're like live on a podcast.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You're broadcasting out.
Yeah.
And then like out of nowhere, you're just like, I'm not feeling good. And
Might be healthy to like look back on afterwards and just be like, oh, yeah.
That you're totally fine.
Yeah.
And you're like, what a weird like sensation, because like you get to see the external reality.
Yeah.
But it's so divorced from the internal experience.
Oh, divorce is a good word, because literally like what you're experiencing in that moment, there's no, as much as I would love to be someone who's like mentally stable enough to pull myself out of a situation like that, when I am deep in it, like that's what's happening. That's it. That's now. Like there's no like part of me that's knows, oh, when you're sober, you'll be fine. It's all terror in that moment. Mm-hmm. Like it's like, it sucks. I've had a few, that's kind of why I took a step back from going out, just because I had normally it usually happens on psychedelics or when I smoke weed. Like I don't smoke weed anymore because I get too in my head, but it happened.
Close brother, same.
Yeah, it happened.
I do just to challenge myself, but
yeah, it's always a shitty challenge.
Yeah, it's like you still lost. Yeah. You still are in your head, and it still sucks. Congratulations.
It happened, recently, I had just taken, like, it happened on a mixture of some happy stuff. And that's what kind of like was like, fuck this. I need a break. I'm not doing any drugs. I'm really delving into my psyche and finding out what's happening, because, normally I feel like on something like that, like it's not something that's going to alter your perception or make you feel like you're in a different state. It usually just makes you feel happy. To be more specific, I'm talking about Molly.
Yeah.
But like I'd done Molly and a few other things, and by the end of the night, dude, I was freaking out. I think I had like a little like flashback or some PTSD, but I had a horrible time. Like it was crazy. Well, what happened was I lost my keys, and that's what started it. One of my homies accidentally pocketed my keys and left. And I thought, I was looking everywhere, in the couch and under the seat, and asking people like, yo, have you seen any keys? And they kept telling me like, oh, when the show's over and the lights come on, well, I'll help you look for your keys. But for me, like, it almost felt like they were like convincing me to stay until the show's over.
Yeah.
Like, just stay until the show's over. And I was like, nah, I don't trust any of you guys right now. Like, yeah, it was bad. It was bad. I ended up staying up till 6 a.m. with another homie that drove me to his house.
Were these like strangers?
Huh?
Were these like some mix?
Yeah, I didn't know him like super well. Well, it was at the Bluebird. And
whoa, wait. So you lost? So it wasn't at someone's house.
Yeah, no, it was at a club. Yeah, and I was hanging with some homies that like I had met the month before, and people that were like kind of close, people that I felt I could trust. But in that moment, I had only known them for so little time that like panic set in.
Yeah, and then them not trying to help you when you needed help.
Yeah, like everybody wants to watch the show, and for me, like what was unsettling me was like, if I found my keys, I'd feel a lot better.
Yeah, but no one was listening to you. Like, hey man, I'm kind of concerned about my keys right now.
And they're like, dude, we'll find them. Come to find out, I never would have found them because homegirl pocketed them. But yeah, dude, it was, for me, it's once there's that little like bit of lack of security, like that's enough to send me over. But I don't know. In the past, I've always prided myself on like my sense of security and mental stability, and it's just, I feel like it's kind of like a coming of age thing. Like as I get older, I'm realizing how many things in my past have like affected me, and like not all positive, but there are some negatives, a lot more than I had originally thought. But it's cool. It's just like, it's just learning.
Well, yeah, and you start to learn how that informed your percept of the world, and that can be scary too.
Definitely.
When you look back and you realize that the ideas and the way you've been painting the world are someone else's brushstrokes, you know?
Yeah, are a result of, the people I looked up to's actions, right? Like you're born into a situation and you're granted all that said people or lack of people are able to present to you as a, newly born individual, just soaking up like a sponge what you think the world is. And yeah, it's wild. It's crazy. It's a crazy thing to come to terms to. And what I've realized is that like conversation with other people is what kind of pulls you out of this hole, kind of pulls you out of the veil of.
Well, it's like, it's not necessarily just conversation. It's like connection, right?
Oh, definitely.
That's like why conversation can be so beneficial. Like anybody could talk. Like a lot of conversations, like, hey man, can you help me find my keys? Hey, stay for the show. That conversation sucks. Like that conversation does not pull you out of the veil, right?
Yeah.
But like the conversation where it's like, oh, this is how I see it, and like, oh, I've been there. I've felt that, and like I know what you went through, and those kind of things. You're like, okay, so I'm not alone. But then I've thought about that, and it's like, this is what drugs will do. They'll make you question everything, and so this is kind of a crazy concept to people who haven't had this like dissolving experience of their I guess you could say their identity, right?
Mm.
But what happens is, at least I question, is this just a reflection of me saying this back to myself, right? Like when people say, oh, I've been there, I've done that. How much of what I'm hearing them say is a reflection of me kind of like hearing the parts that I want to hear to validate myself versus how much of it is like a legitimate outside entity speaking their experience.
I get that.
And then you get into this loop of like, what happens if there is no outside entities and you are all that there is? And then if you don't feel okay with yourself in that situation, that's a scary place to be, because then the entire universe is unstable, because you are the universe in that case.
And you're
so
unstable.
Yeah, and you're unstable.
Wow, that's crazy. Because when you said that right now, like that kind of like was like interesting to me. I feel like I'd rather. I kind of, when you had said it to me initially, I feel like I was kind of blending both ideas. But what you're saying is like an outside entity versus me as an individual entity conversing with said individual. But what I was hearing is that like, I don't know, I think we talked about this when we first met, was that like we're all like, we're all, what I said was fingertips on the brain of existence. But like two fingers don't know that they're touching unless like there's contact, so like individually the fingers are apart from one another, but once there's like contact made, that's like, oh, I feel you and you feel me and we're the same thing, like I think that's kind of where I took the same entity idea, was that like I am an individual experience plugged into the same thing that you are, but there would be no realization of that without, the connection. But what you said was that when you feel unstable, like what you say,
the universe is unstable.
Yeah, like when I'm freaking out, no matter who it is I'm talking to,
they're a part of this unstable universe. Now manifesting.
It's all fucked. Yeah,
and it's a weird thing, because I still don't know how to like. That's why I haven't done DMT yet. I had a homie offer me DMT, but he said he made it himself, and he's a smart chemistry dude. He's at college and stuff, and I still was like, I don't know, bro. Like, you made it yourself? Like, I don't know exactly how.
From what I've heard.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that, and I don't know how easy it is to make DMT, but that scares the fuck out of me. Yeah. And he's like, this shit's way good, bro. I just did some. He's like, it's in a vape pen. I was like, this is crazy to just have DMT in a vape pen.
Yeah, I've done that. I've never done DMT, and I'm still interested in doing DMT, but that whole vape pen experience, I experienced the same thing, but I said yes. He was like, I made it, and he pulled it out, and it's like a dab pen, like as if someone was handing me weed. And I tried a little bit at first, and I felt something that was cool, so I was like, all right, I'll try it again. And he's like, take deep inhales and hold it. So I did like 2 or 3 big inhales. What I saw was super cool. I'll elaborate on that, but it took me out for the rest of the night. Like,
you're just done after it.
Yeah, dude. I sat down on the couch and just nothing else. There was no desire for me to continue mingling or anything like that. Not because I saw anything like crazy life changing.
It was just exhausting.
Yeah, like mentally fatigued. You know, I felt like, and kind of like I imagined it was like how you feel, you know, the day after taking shrooms or the day after taking acid or
like just waking up hungover. Almost.
Yeah,
just
when
like,
you exactly like I just experienced something and my body's kind of overwhelmed, you know. But it was cool. Like, you know how I don't know if this makes sense to you, but like when I do acid, I feel like everything's melting. And then when I do shrooms, I feel like everything's kind of like exposing their inner pattern. Like the visuals are very different between the two. Similar, but like I have the same feeling when I look at things and I'm tripping, but on acid, it's more like, I don't know, the best way to explain it is like you just want to rub your hands down your face. you know what I mean? Maybe
That's really
don't, but.
No, I haven't done acid, but
Oh, really?
But I know what you mean when you talk about shrooms kind of exposing the inner pattern
Yeah.
that things have.
Like it's almost like as if everything's kind of like breathing and flowing like what it is that they are. And when you're on any psychedelic, you just appreciate things as so much more than they are. Like you could sit and stare at a wall for fucking hours and just be like, yeah, dude, this wall just gave me its whole life story.
You know what, dude? So I saw that same kind of pattern, and I think walls kind of like exaggerate it because there's so much texture on a wall. So like it's like a good canvas for the shrooms to paint reality onto.
Oh, definitely.
So I was like convinced that shrooms are an alien technology. I was on a lot of shrooms. I was convinced that shrooms are an alien technology, and I was like decided to take a lot more and speak with the aliens, and they told me some wild shit, dude. and it was really weird. It was really fucked up. It's like I talked about it on a different podcast, but the best way I can explain it is like when you take enough, it kind of pulls back a veil to expose this fabric of reality that's always there, but it's like our cognition kind of distorts it. Like the cognition of humanity is the veil. Our evolutionary preset is this veil that we have over our percept of how reality is actually working. And then there's this veil that gets removed, and then you see this pattern. And the only way I can explain it is like this like beautiful colorful yarn that was made by your mom, but like the divinity inside your mom, like not just your mom, but like the type of mom that you knew as an infant that you relied on solely to be mom, or even like I guess the archetype of mom, right?
Yeah, the divinity of just life itself, just creation in the sense that like
it was just pure
mom did
pure
that
love.
Yeah,
it was like the first mom. Because it didn't feel like my mom. It felt like the first mom, like all mom.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've felt something similar and just bawled my eyes out. Just bawled. Like, just, you know, because even if it wasn't, like, even if you, like, just, yeah, I feel you. Like, mom in general, you know, like, just the fact that everybody came from a mom. Like even mom came from mom. Like it just goes back however fucking long, however fucking far, and like whoever it is, like that did whatever that resulted in
this.
Yeah, like thanks.
That's what it is.
You know, like
it's like keep me safe.
Yeah.
That's another thing. It's like time starts to not be. Like, you realize that you're stuck in a particular timeline or, like, time crystal almost. I wouldn't even say it's a line. And you're stuck in this, like, thing, but time exists in this weird way, especially when I take psychedelics, where it's like I know that there's other types of time happening. And that's why I think people talk about source, right? Like the divine entity, you could call it like the forever mom. It would be source, right? Like the thing that birthed all things, right?
Yeah.
And so but you aren't, like, you're a part of source, but the experience that you have in the moment is not source because it's outside of that. It's because you can't experience all of source.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're not experiencing all of source, you're outside of it, looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
So everything else is source or the divine or whatever. Everything else that you project onto the world is the divine. That's what you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that you're trying to figure out is like what you are in relationship to the divine. And that's where we create our identity. That's where we try to isolate ourselves into this, it's almost like a graph. Like if you had 1 point on a graph, you'd be like this infinitesimally small point on an infinite graph. And everything else on that graph would be source. But you would be the point that is undefined. Because you can't define yourself. You can't actually ever understand where you are in it.
Like everybody's a piece of source.
But I can
but
see
solving
you,
for X. Everybody's solving for X.
Yeah.
X being personal identity. Yeah.
And but the funny thing is the difference between me and you, because we're all part of source, is this time differential. So we're separated by time, especially like on like a quantum level. Like nothing is actually existing at the same increment of time, which is kind of a weird thought.
Yeah, that's a crazy thought, actually. And it's funny that you bring that up because literally just a couple days ago, I saw, it was weird how these things like presented themselves to me. The first one was, which if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. But you ever heard of the show Invincible on Amazon?
Kimmy Schmidt?
No. No, it's
That's the only one I know.
It's based off of a comic book. And
oh, is it that fucking guy who just people's heads
yeah,
in? I've seen clips on YouTube. Yeah,
fucking Omni-Man. So what it is there's this alien species that comes to our planet in this comic book, and they like they're fucking shooting people and obliterating people and just like totally beating the shit out of us for like 30 minutes, and then they all just start dying because supposedly they come from a different
time.
Yeah, like
Continuum.
Yeah, time continuum, because I was going to say time zone, but that doesn't even make sense. Like, so what they realize is that they age faster on Earth. So then they go home and they come back the next day, but it has been like years for them. It's been like eons, and the dude comes back and he's got like a scar on his eye and he's old, and they've got these wristbands that let them exist in Earth's time zone. But soon after watching that episode, I watched, I think it was, who's that guy that like is always talking about quantum physics? He's the black guy that like insanely smart.
The bot guy?
The black guy.
Oh, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah. So I watched an interview with him where he was talking about black holes and how they alter time, and how the closer you are to a black hole, the slower time goes for you. So like
until it stops.
Yeah, entirely. But like it warps the fabric of like space so much that time is experienced on a different level, which like that alone is just a crazy concept to wrap your head around. And then just a couple days ago, I watched a video on TikTok that was talking about electrons and how, like different atoms have set amount of electrons, but like supposedly, I don't know how right I am about this, but they were talking about the theory of antimatter, how every electron actually doesn't exist. There's only ever one electron. So like, let's say
the one electron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say like if something has 2 electrons, it's almost as if like if something was moving so fast and you took a picture of it, like
it would look like there's 2.
If it was moving this slow, there would be 1. If it was moving this fast, you'd see 2, and faster would make more. But essentially what it was saying is that it's moving so fast, and I don't know, it said something about there's another electron going just as fast in the opposite direction, so that in the rate that things are making themselves, they're also like creating themselves backwards. Like things are existing both directions. Like not only is it, but it was right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how much that makes sense. I don't have an account, so I never like anything. I just fucking scroll all day, but I wish I could go back and show you, just so you have like the grasp of the information that I have. Like,
no, I know what you're saying. I watched a similar video. Do you watch PBS Spacetime? That might be the account that you saw that on. Was it kind of like a droll kind of guy saying the one electron universe?
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Probably PBS Spacetime. I don't know. I have to check it out.
He has like a beard. He's like brown hair. And he like
yeah. Was he talking about chairs?
Maybe.
I don't know.
No, I've watched so many episodes. I always have to watch it on 2 times speed because I just get he talks so slow. I'm just like, and he's so monotone. I'm like, bro, you're an entertainer.
Yeah.
Like, let's get to the entertaining part. Like, you're talking about the craziest shit in the universe, and you're making it kind of boring.
So boring.
Like, how do you do this?
I feel that.
That's like the biggest problem with science, right? It's like,
yeah, that's why I love Neil deGrasse Tyson.
So fucking boring. It's literally why we're here.
This is your life's work.
Yeah.
And you sound unenthused. Like,
yeah, because that's what it takes to. I mean, no wonder those guys are like, they gave up women and everything to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, at this point,
imagine being so obsessed with like fucking dirt and how dirt works that you just like
fuck everything else. You just like,
pussy's off the table now.
I'd rather learn about dirt.
That's why the only people that were ever fun were the ones who were actually getting pussy, like Albert Einstein.
You think so?
Oh yeah, I watched the whole thing on it. He was like a fucking.
Really?
Yeah, dude. He
was
going hard.
Yeah.
And Benjamin Franklin.
Really?
Oh, he had like sex dungeons, dude. He had sex parties.
Props to him.
I think he was like a Satanist too.
Really?
Yeah. Weird stuff.
Wow.
Secret chambers. He was like, I think at the time one of the richest men in the world.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's news to me.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
God, dude, if I could go back in time, I would party with Benjamin Franklin. Because he looks like he's definitely like the guy at the party. They'd be like, oh, that guy parties? And be like, oh, dude, he gets down. Dude, like, I mean, can you imagine being like looking the way he did and still picking up bitches?
With the key and the kite.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, hey, bitch, you want to come fly some kites? I'll show you some shockingly interesting shit.
Oh, my God.
No, but, like, it's crazy how much, like, you know, we're taught about things that are just, like, common knowledge to the average person, but, you know, that person was, you know, you learn, like, this many sentences about Benjamin Franklin and George Washington when literally they, like, had whole ass lives. Like,
oh, for real.
Everybody's got like secrets and shit that they did on the weekends and things that they did for fun. Like, your life's work is not all you do.
And
like,
they teach us the least interesting shit about them.
Yeah, right? Fuck. Why does... I don't know. I've always questioned that. I've never been like a schoolgoer. Like, why does certain shit matter?
Because they got to indoctrinate you into this idea that this is... You got to be smart enough to know like a little bit about U.S. history and the story of like why the country's here. And then once you can do a little bit of math and you can follow instructions in different domains, you're smart enough to go work for a factory.
Yeah.
That's how they started schools. Did you know? Like, so schools used to be they used to have these just lectures, right? So someone would get up on a podium and then they would read a passage out of a book because not everyone's literate. And then they started having lecture halls. And then people would basically all study a book together and talk about it and discuss ideas. And then, I think it was Hearst, like the paper company and stuff. I don't think we had traditional schools until like 1920. Like we would have like Christian schools where they would like teach
like until
the word
printing
of God.
became a big thing. Like until
yeah. So now people can like read books all over the place. And but we also needed people to work in factories to make these books.
Yeah.
And then it was the Rockefellers, my bad. The Rockefellers and their like industrial mindset kind of started this industry like concept. Like schools aren't for learning. Schools are for following instructions so you can be a part of the American
How well.
industrial system.
Yeah, and rating you on a system in which we find out how well you can follow instructions.
Yeah, college.
How good of a sheep are you?
Yeah, college back then meant more. College is like, okay, so you're not an average person. So you're typically, if you could go to college back then, you were a wealthy elite.
Mm.
And so, and that was like the weirdest thing about that mindset is
You
like,
could afford to, educate yourself a little more than the average person.
it doesn't mean you were a better or smarter person. It just,
just
means
had
you
more
had
money.
enough money to buy the ticket to get into the system, which is an interesting.
And then that just snowballed into what it is now. Yeah, and now it's a fucking curriculum, which to me makes no sense because curriculum varies state to state. And like, what's crazy is you could, meet someone that graduated, followed the same, like someone who graduated in California versus someone who graduated in fucking literally anywhere else. I don't know why I said California, well, Nevada, because I live here now. But like, there's a difference. And then not only that, but what I always thought was crazy was that like, even from school to school and class to class is different. Like, oh, this class is doing that for their school project. Like, fuck, I wish I was in that class. Like, my teacher sucks. Like, my teacher's just making us, fill out packets and reading books all day. Like, the learning experience is different for everybody. And then going back to, who we are as individuals as a result of how we were brought up. Like, two kids in the same class, this guy is fucking distracted because he's thinking about what's going on at home. But this guy's got, football practice at the end of school. That's all he could think about. And then this kid like cares about this class and he's actually learning about what's being talked about right now. But like, it's crazy the variables involved in, intellect and what is considered good or bad.
And here's the thing is I don't think it takes an insane IQ to be a functioning or even highly beneficial part of society.
Oh, definitely not.
I think it's a lack of a directive towards what the real goals in society are. I think if we were to fix the educational system, we would have to do something where... So, I mean, the world faces existential threats, right? So things that are certainly going to destroy the planet and it basically make humanity extinct. So we have meteors, we have global warming, we have, COVID, right? Like we have viral things that can literally, at the drop of an eye,
just fuck everybody off.
Of an eye. That's a fucking morbid ass. The blink of an eye, the drop of an eye.
Blink of an eye, drop of a dime.
Bro.
Blink of a dime.
I'm going to start saying drop of an eye. It's so creepy. But at the drop of an eye, we have these things that could literally be catastrophic for all of humanity. And your school wants to teach you derivatives with no real purpose.
Just to see how well can you retain this information until there's a test. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the year, we're going to sprinkle in a little bit of everything. And let's just see how well you do.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, like if you want to graduate high school, you have to take these high school proficiency exams, which may or may not have to do with anything that you've learned, because they're nationwide exams. And if you took them literally before you got into high school, you could graduate high school.
Yeah.
So there's two requirements to graduate high school. You have to pass the high school proficiency exam, and you have to have so many hours in class, like seat hours. So one's a just non sequitur argument, like, oh, you just have to sit down. That's a requirement. You just have to show up. That's a weird requirement. That doesn't make any sense. And then the other requirement is you have to take this test that everyone takes in the entire country, but it's not based on what you were taught. It's based on what you should have been taught, but it's not guaranteed that you were taught anything in this test.
Yeah, it's like a gamble. It's like, all right.
It's like, let's see what schools are performing well. And then so it's basically like the schools that don't perform well, sorry for those kids.
Yeah, because they cut the funding after that. Mm-hmm. Like,
and
it makes sense to give them more funding. Like,
not only they're like, oh, well, that school sucks, so we're going to make it worse.
Yeah. Like, oh, yeah, the kids coming out of there aren't worth shit.
Yeah.
We're not going to why would we continue? That makes no sense to us. They're already proving that they're not functioning members of society. Why would we waste any more money on? It's all so fucked, dude. I hate politics. I hate all that shit. Like,
for real. And it's like, I see so many like simple solutions to a lot of these problems. I mean, they're not simple in terms of like getting
execution.
It done. Execution is always hard because it's a multivariable thing. But the general goal, the direction that you should be going in, is very simple. And it's, I think, things that most people could definitely agree upon. Like, what happens if, let's say, so kids are very creative. They when you ask a kid who hasn't been fucked up by society yet, how do you solve a problem? They will engage with you 110%. They will want to figure it out.
A solution for the problem.
Yeah, they'll be like, here's, especially if you present it the right way. You can't be like, what is the derivative of X minus? They'd be like, what are you saying? Like, you can't do that to a 3-year-old.
No, not that shit.
But like, if you were like, okay, so, a meteor could hit the planet. And they'd be like, whoa, really? Yeah, like a big one. And like, how big? And you'd be like, the size of like New York. And they're like, whoa, that's like bigger than this rock over here. Like, that's crazy. And you're like, yeah, it's pretty nuts, right? And they're like, whoa. And then so you already grab their attention, and then you're like, so what would you do about that?
And they've got the freshest ideas, like
kids can solve problems
because they're not thinking about what works. Yeah. It's literally imagination tackling the problem. And like, that's another thing that I think is great, is just like encouraging kids to use their imagination, like asking kids what it is that they would want to learn. And I want to backpedal a little bit, but what you were saying about society, like, this is where we get to the conversation of like community versus society, like where the things that could get done in a community versus the things that would get done in a society, and not literally just by definition of the word, but like, you know what it means to be in a community versus society, like going to a fucking art show, community, going to, the
bank.
Yeah. To fucking, or
society.
Like, what's
Court, society.
Yeah. See, and all that shit fucking sucks.
Voting, society.
Yeah.
I hate voting. I feel like, unless it's like local, it's like, what am I doing? Everyone says go vote. You have to vote. Everyone's like champions this concept, and it's like it makes a difference. It's like,
yeah, I don't vote.
I don't buy it, bro.
I honestly don't think I ever.
And it's always like vote between what, two evils?
Exactly.
I didn't fucking want any of these people. And then
I hate them both.
I love the response. People are like, then you run. And you change things. It's like, what kind of fucking argument is that? Yeah. Then I should run? You're a fucking idiot, bro. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, literally, you don't win unless you're a part of this or that, and they don't want me. I don't want them. Like, you like, I don't even have a campaign manager. Or, I don't know what I'd do. I don't know.
Do you want to run my campaign?
They're like, then you run, and you're like all caught in your head thinking about it. You're like, could I even?
And then you tell them, like, do you know it takes on average, some odd millions of dollars to even run a successful campaign?
Yeah, to even consider.
You have to pick a side too. You have to flip a coin, Republican or Democrat. You don't get to run in the middle, because guess what? If someone says, oh, you should, like, here's the other argument that pro voters say. They're like, because there was like, what, Biden or Trump, and then but there was like the middle road, like just some middle people. What do you call it? Like the yellow party. I don't know.
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah, so it's like, it's the purple party. It's like in between the two, Democrat and Republican. So if you're trying to pick a candidate who's not either a Democrat or a Republican, they say you're throwing away your vote. And it's like, well, do you want me to fucking vote or not? Because I don't like these two candidates. And then I'm impartial towards this other guy, but he seems the least, like the lesser of all of the evils. And they're like, well, that's throwing away your vote. That's not very cool. It's like, you just want me to go for your fucking guy. Just say it.
Yeah.
Fucking assholes. I hate it, dude.
Dude, that's why anything involved in politics, like even like the whole school conversation was really pushing it for me, just because like one, it's just all it is. Political conversation is just invitation for argument. Like that's why I just enjoy conversation. And if it gets political, like me and the person talking about it, no, it's not political. Like us right now. This isn't a political conversation.
No.
At all. Like, but someone on the outside looking in wants to give their political input so bad. They're like, oh, these kids are so stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. It's like, no, it's not that we don't know. It's we literally don't give a fuck. I don't care. The solutions are simple. That's my answer. Outside of that, I really don't care. See, I don't care who you voted for.
I completely agree with you. Like, I don't give a fuck about politics, but I do care about the world becoming a better place.
Oh, 100%.
And that's where I get upset, because it's like, why do we have a drug war? Like, why do we... Like that, it's so easy to get rid of the drug war just by making drugs legal and regulating them properly.
Mm-hmm. Like
all of the science supports it.
Where's that?
Everything
in like
supports
Switzerland or something like that. Like I don't remember where it's at, but there's a place where they give people with drug addiction clean, uncut drugs and a safe place to do them so that they can maintain a healthy and livable lifestyle without having to suffer from withdrawals.
Yeah, and guess what? Their society is fine.
Yeah.
It didn't collapse or burn down.
It's fantastic, actually.
Yeah. It's actually one amazing. Of the wealthiest societies in the planet.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. It's just things like that where when the higher ups are sitting on simple solutions and they're still choosing like not to do it, then at that point it's like, then why do I give a fuck or support anything that you do or, you know, claim that you're about? You know, like that's why I think things like this, like podcasts and, you know, things involved in the community and artists coming together and creative thinkers coming together and talking about solutions. And like there are more and more people homeschooling their children. And that just means more, you know, brighter brains on, you know, walking the planet, just consciously making and living better lives towards, you know, a similar goal as opposed to literally argument and separation every 4 years when there's some fucking election. You know, the guy you hate gets elected and then fucking, what, you're miserable for 4 years because what changes? And they're like, taxes and blah, 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 and all this other shit that like,
it's like,
I mean,
if you really didn't even look at that, did it change at all?
Yeah, true. Like you have to pay it anyways. Like
you have to pay it anyways. It's
like I didn't vote. I'm still disappointed that there's taxes. I didn't notice the 2% increase or bullshit. Like, oh no, however many more dollars. Which I'd probably sound ignorant as fuck to someone who's like well educated in it. But like, that's what I'm saying. Like at the same time, as much as I hate it, I'm always open to like receive information as long as you come correct with it and it's not like,
but that's the biggest problem, right? It's like,
yeah, is that
correct?
Yeah,
people are coming with like a fucking agenda.
Everybody's quick to like, I'll shoot you if you shit on my president. Like, how about we talk about why you like him? I really don't care to have this conversation, but I'm open to being educated in, you know.
Dude, it creeps me out when people are like, I love Biden. Or like even people don't know, I love Trump. What do you mean? You didn't meet this guy.
Yeah, you know the guy. Him? Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, right. Like fucking.
What is that?
People are at the rallies like they're fucking seeing Beyonce. They're like fucking.
Bro,
oh my god, it's Trump.
Dude, for real, dude. I went to this the Bernie rally a long time ago at UNR just because my friend was reporting on it. Uh-huh. He's like a journalist, and so I just went to go hang out with my friend. And I was just at the Bernie rally, and there was like, it was so weird because Bernie is probably the least fake out of all of them, but even that was still so unbelievably fake and weird to see. There's people like, just like with their banners, and they're like, "This is I'm like,
yeah."
And this is before, it's like the beginning of Bernie. This is like Bernie's first go through, so everyone was hyped on Bernie. And
I know what you're talking about. I went to one of those rallies because I had like super political friends, and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna go canvassing for Bernie, and we're gonna get to go. If we canvass, we get like essentially VIP passes to the rally." And like, I was like, "All right, I'll go." And we went and we canvassed, and then we got front seats, and like I shook his hand and everything, and I had a little pin, but like. Looking back on that, like I had no idea what I was doing. Like,
isn't that weird?
Yeah, I still don't.
Those are one of those things that like would make me freak out on mushrooms. Like like or any like a psychedelic, because it's like it was like, was that my idea? Like the experience is fine, but it's like, was I actually sold on this idea at the time?
Like I did that.
Yeah, and it's like what I didn't really like. Cause imagine if you did that for Trump, but before Trump was like ostracized, and then you had to look at what happened, and then you'd be like, oh, I feel so icky, like about that situation, you know? And I don't know, dude. It's a weird world out there. There's like weird things happening, and that's what psychedelics shows you.
Oh, 100%.
That's why anyone who takes psychedelics, I just don't know how they stay political.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know how you can like be on mushrooms and like look at politics and think that makes sense.
Like, fucking 100%. On shrooms, like, fuck, I'm so glad I voted for so and so. Like
what?
I like look at them like they're fucking nuts. Like,
yeah.
Like, dude, we're.
Bro, I was hanging out, even like political correctness, and it's like I get that people don't want to feel offended and stuff. Like I get the sensation of not wanting to feel hurt by words, right? I get it. Words can hurt, and I don't wish anyone to feel pain or whatever. But you know, tripping and falling hurts, and we can't, you know, bubble wrap the planet.
Yeah.
Because that would kill all of the animals because it would be wrapped in plastic. You know what I mean? Like, we can't do that. So just the same way we can't just censor language, because free speech is the only way things can actually be done. I mean, people who want to censor free speech, go live in Nazi Germany. That's what they did. That's why Hitler became so powerful. It's because he censored speech.
Yeah. That shit's
And then he
crazy to
censored
me.
a race. And then multiple races. Like, that's where it goes. You censor one thing, you start censoring multiple things. And it's just like this. Anyways, my story is, I was at this thing with my friend, and I hope he doesn't get mad about this, because I think I've told him this before, but it was like, he hung out with political people, he's a journalist, and
Is this the friend you went to the rally with?
Same guy. He definitely knows what I'm talking about. But he had this like very liberal group of friends, especially during the time of like, you know, the whole it was very, very PC. Like it was like when PC was really becoming PC. Like it was before PC looked at, like before there was like really animosity towards PC. It was like, oh, you should just do this. You should just be PC. Like when it felt like really good to be PC. A few years ago, basically. And I remember the conversation. I was like sitting at a table, and this girl was asking this other girl, like, I just don't know, like, they were talking about their friend who just had a baby. I'm sitting across the table, and I almost did a spit take. She's like, I just don't know if, so they had a baby and they wanted to name the baby like Jose, and then the girl was like, okay, well, what's wrong with that? She's like, well, they're not Mexican. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what is this converse? And she's like, I was so offended. And then the person they were talking to is like, that is horrific. I was like, you like what do horrific I do?
To
like,
name
I really
the child
like them,
Jose.
and they're really like, they didn't say woke back then, but like they were really woke, and like
she didn't want to hang out with them anymore because they named
their
baby.
Because they wanted to, thought about it.
She's like, you considered the name Jose for your unborn child? I don't even know if we could be friends anymore.
And you're not Mexican? Dude, I almost fucking like, I started laughing hella hard, and then they looked at me, and I was just like, I don't even know. You guys are fucking retarded. I don't even know what to tell you. Like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, I just don't think his friends liked me that much, because I don't shut the fuck up.
Oh yeah, no.
Like, if you want me to shut the fuck up, you have to hit me in the face. Like, I'm not gonna.
But you almost invite that though. That's why, dude. I had so much respect. Like the second I met you, because I was like, and then not only that, but your best friend was blue, and like the complete opposite of what you are.
He's gigantic.
Yeah, and just super quiet, like super just to himself, and like, dude, the night I met the two of you was like, I was like, these fucking guys are the coolest. Dude.
Such a weird vibe, right? I never thought about like looking at me and Blue on the outside, but like, there's like this short little mouthy dude and then this tall, quiet guy.
Like gentle giant, just like, it's like, yeah, he says what he wants. But yeah, dude, that's wild. Outside of political conversation, I think, I want to say this was the last time we hung out, but I will gladly take another drink. But
go ahead, finish your thought.
Do a quick intermission in a sec. But I was gonna say, I thought about this maybe like 1 or 2 days before you had hit me up to be on the podcast, because I was scrolling through like my projects on, you know I make art on Procreate.
Yeah, I want to get into that, by the way. So don't I want to talk about your art, and I want to talk about some other shit that you're doing.
Yeah. So there's a picture of you and Blue there. I think I told you guys that I had thought about like doing this picture of you guys in my own style as like just an appreciation for meeting you two. But this was like way back, and so I was scrolling through my stuff and she saw it and she's like, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Oh, that's Araya and Blue, like some of the coolest dudes I ever met." And then I told her about the time. I don't know if you remember this. We were all pretty fucked up, but I think we had linked up. I don't remember how or where, but we made our way to Shay's, and we all just kind of drunkenly stumbled inside, and the guy was like, "I'm gonna need to see some ID."
Oh, you were there for that? I fucking totally
remember
forgot.
he said,
dude, this. Go ahead.
He said, "You too, Yellow." And Blue looked at him and was like, "My name is Blue." Like,
dude, that's the funniest shit.
Lost it. Because he was wearing that bright yellow sweatshirt, dude. That was the funniest, dude, by hands down.
No one's expecting someone's name to be a color.
And he called him Yellow, and I was like, ah. And
So
Blue was like,
we call that guy Gay Thor because he's like he's bigger than Blue. And he has like long Viking. He looks like Gay Thor. What else do I need to say? Like,
yeah, dude, that was.
And so Thor's hammer was coming down on Blue, right? Like I guess Thor was having a night, and
oh, for sure.
And
because we weren't rude or anything. We literally walked in and sat down, and he was like,
I think it was because we took our mask off at a table, but like he was just having a night, and he's like, "You need to put your mask back on." Yeah. And it's like we were sitting down. And he's like, I need to see. He asked us for our ID like 3 fucking times.
Yeah.
And so he looks at Blue, is wearing a bright yellow shirt, like bright yellow hoodie. And then so everyone's handing their IDs, and he's like, "You too, Yellow." And then Blue does not get talked to that way.
Yeah, nah.
He's like, "My name is Blue." And it was just like, what is like.
I guarantee you, dude thought that was a joke. Like, until he saw his ID and was like, "Oh shit!"
Oh shit, your name is. By the way, they're friends now.
Are they really? No way.
His girlfriend works at Shay's.
Swear. That's what's
His
up.
girlfriend works at Shay's.
That's hella funny.
So they know each other.
So has that story come up?
Oh yeah,
that's so funny.
Yeah, no, I was like, Thor is such a fucking dick. Like, yeah, he's actually a nice guy. He's having a bad night.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. I mean, no, yeah. Because honestly, the way that I remember that, I mean, I could imagine we probably came in on some fuck shit.
Bro, that was the funniest thing I think I've like. It's hard to explain it for like an audience, right? But it's one of those moments that will forever be like, I've never laughed harder in my life.
Yeah.
Like, thinking back to something like that. Because I knew his name was Blue. And
yeah,
I knew
me
it
too.
was coming.
Yeah, dude.
I knew what was. I've been his best friend for so long. I was like, this is not going to end well.
Yeah, when he was like, "You too, Yellow," I thought about like, yeah,
he told us to leave. Oh, dude, that's the funniest shit.
It's funny because when someone calls your colored friend by the wrong color, you almost want to tap them and be like, "Yo, he's blue, not yellow." Yeah. So when Blue snapped back like that, I was like, "Dude, snaps, man. He deserved that." Who's he calling you yellow? Fuck this guy.
Bro, dude.
That was so funny, dude.
I still tell people about that. That's like one of the first things that's ever happened. And I've seen some fucking wild shit. And that still was like, that was just such a perfectly timed.
Yeah. Cause
the most, that never happened. Whose name was Blue?
Yeah.
Who has the comeback
I remember how shocked I was when I met him and he was like, my name is Blue. And I was like, really?
He's like, yeah.
Yeah. Blue Rose.
And you're like, okay, dude.
Blue Rose? You're joking.
Yeah.
This is a stage name or something. But
It's like, no, it's actually, my parents were hippies, so.
yeah, dude, I've got much respect for him too, dude. He radiates hippie energy, like as big as he is, like
metal hippie energy.
Yeah, that's what started
like
our first conversation.
Hippie. Yeah,
I was like, yeah, so what kind of bands are you into? And he was like super soft spoken. He's like, yeah, I like these guys and these guys and these guys. And I was like, dude, respect for him to be this big and just be like so effortless with his flow of words, and for you to be like this big and to be so aggressive with your flow of words. I was like, dude, they're like yin and yang. Like, I want to be best friends with these guys.
Dude, yeah.
Like,
what a duo. I don't even know.
And you were on shrooms that night too, and you were talking, you're like, yeah, I really give no shits. Like, I am unapologetically myself. And I was like, dude, respect.
And the funniest thing,
you guys were inspiring to me that night because, like, I feel like for me, I don't want to say I change myself for people, but I definitely play off of vibe. Like, if I'm like, I don't know if I like that vibe, I'm going to withdraw, myself.
I'm wearing shades inside
experience
right now. I know exactly what you're talking about.
No, you're chilling. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I have fucking shades on in a dark room. Like, I know. I definitely play up a vibe. I wouldn't say I'm I am unapologetically myself, but I think you construct yourself. So that's why it gets weird. I don't think you can find yourself. I mean, if you found yourself, you would just be like, oh, I'm everything. That's what finding yourself is. Like, oh, I'm a part of all of this. There is no self. So it's like you get to make yourself. And that's where like the internal revolution happens. That's when you start questioning your past completely, because you wonder how many of these ideas that you grew up with are actually your own. How many of the words in your head that you think every day were spoken by you? Very few. Very few of the words that you say are things that the thoughts that are generated come from or have the what is it? Epis? There's like a
epicenter?
word. Yeah, what sort of epicenter? There's a whatever. It's a fuck. I hate when I forget words. I love language so much because you can just like perfectly say something, and then when you can't think of the words, you sound really dumb. He's just like, what fucking word was it?
Dude, do you watch or have you ever heard of what's his name? Okay, we'll segue into it. You ever heard of the Midnight Gospel?
Duncan Trussell.
Okay, yeah.
Love Duncan
Yeah,
Trussell.
the way that fool speaks, like,
yeah, dude.
it's just, like, it's almost like he's painting pictures. Like, and
100%.
he's never trips up on his words. He's, like, got the most beautiful sentences, and the way he describes shit is, like, fuck. Like, dude, you just snaps all day. Like,
I would love to talk. And the funny thing is to think that he is, like, best friends with Joe Rogan.
oh, yeah.
Again, polar opposite type of people,
Yeah.
like on the surface, very similar in what they think.
Yeah, in terms of, like, existential conversation and the
Yeah.
things that they could agree on. Like,
And it's I think when people get into the more abstract, that's when you find that there's more similarities between us.
oh, definitely. Literally, all you have to do is transcend past, like, the conversations of society and politics. Like, literally, I would group those things in with small talk. Like, literally, how are you? Like, how was your day? Who'd you vote for? Like, as if those things fucking matter.
Dude, if someone asked me who I voted for, I would just walk out. I wouldn't even say a word. I'd be like, what? No.
Right? Because the second I say I didn't vote, there's going to be some kind of, negative energy received on my end. Like,
Yeah, and I kind of like, I go back and forth between like inviting that type of chaos and like,
yeah,
you know
no,
what I
you're
mean? 'Cause
definitely
it's like-
that person. Yeah.
Because I'm like, should I just like let it be and not say anything and leave, which is rude to do to a person, but it's also like this isn't going anywhere. Like I'm 3 steps ahead of what will happen, and I guarantee you, there's nothing that we're gonna gain from this.
It's either be rude and leave or engage in that conversation and
'cause
waste
we're already
both
down the
of your
slide,
time.
bro. We're already halfway down this fucking slide, and the momentum's there. So if I'm fucking, if I say I don't vote, you're gonna be so offended.
As if I just walked away from the conversation.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
and then it's like, you would have wished I would have just fucking walked away.
yeah.
So you're welcome. I did you a favor. But
They will never know that.
But sometimes it's
But
like
would you rather be a dick because you didn't vote or a dick because you walked away? Rather walk away, dude, honestly.
Walk away is way less energy.
Yeah,
right?
truly.
So it's like, okay, I'm conserving some energy today because now I'm stuck in this thing with this person, and I don't really care that much. But it's purely like the only reason I would do it is for my own entertainment, and that's what I struggle with because it's like half of me
Does shit because it's funny.
Yeah, like, well, there's a part of me that if it wasn't for just completely embarrassing my family, I would do shit, like I would be a jackass character. Like I would just walk around doing, you know that guy in like New York who like wears a thong and has like a big beard, he kind of looks like Jesus. And he goes around, he's like, like that, and he has like a belly, and he's like, love is everywhere. Love is everywhere.
Yeah,
like, yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's like he's viral. I would be borderline that, but in a way more fucked up way. Like I would like walk, like I had this idea, to ask people questions with like a puppet that was like a baby that was like burnt and torn up, and then I'd wear like a bag on my head, and I just wanted to see what people would do. Like I just like, and I just don't, like to the point of like just not giving a fuck. Cause like, what is this? Like, what are we doing here? I want to be Eric Andre is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I think that'd be a fun thing to do. But then I still love Eric Andre, and I get that this is with all things that are highly produced. But when I found out he has an entire team of writers, I was like a little butthurt.
That he has a team of writers.
Yeah, but it's like, duh, of course he has a team of writers. But like, I thought it was like, oh, it's just one man who's
like him
hilarious.
just off the fucking off the rocker, like
being the fucking funniest people of all time. And it's like, oh no, there's a whole team of writers.
Half of it is him though. You know, like the writers are just like, this would be funny,
and then it's like people coming up with things. Yeah, but
it's like this would be funny. It takes him to be like, yeah, that's funny. I'm gonna do that, and then to deliver that. Like that,
but
like
the performance of what he does is
top tier.
He has a new movie that came out that I just watched.
Yeah,
so
was it
good.
Bad Trip?
Yeah, I think so.
It's good, right? I mean, I haven't seen it. I'm asking you, is it good?
It's so funny, dude. It's so. I know it's good when my mom is like, "What are you fucking watching?" like my mom came home, I was like, "Mom, this movie is hilarious." And then I showed her one of the scenes in a spoiler alert. It's not a huge spoiler, but he this craziest stupid he there's all these people, they're at a zoo, and there's he hired a guy to be in a gorilla costume in the zoo, but it's such a realistic gorilla costume that you can't tell that it's not an actual gorilla. So he's like, oh dude, check this out, my girlfriend's gonna love these fucking pictures. And then he's like, oh, dude, open the cage. And he does this in front of all these people, and they are like, you cannot open that. You cannot. Are they going in there? Are you fucking kidding me? And it's just like this roadside zoo, just in the middle of fucking God knows where the fuck they are. And he goes in there, and he's like taking selfies with the gorilla, and then the gorilla like looks at him, but his back's turned towards the gorilla, and he's not paying attention, and the people are like, oh fuck,
like he's about to go down.
Yeah, and then the gorilla fucks him, like rapes him in front of these people, and then like he gets out. He gets out of the cage, and the people are like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I don't know," and he spits up all this like cum.
Ridiculous. This fucking guy, I swear, has no limits.
Bro, it gets better because he goes, all these people are like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Why did you go in there, man?" And he's like, "Oh fuck, I forgot my phone." And he goes back in and he gets fucked again. He gets face fucked by the gorilla.
Oh my god, dude.
Dude, and he's like, no. There's people. Could you imagine if you actually thought a gorilla's face fucking some guy?
No, yeah, I was literally just thinking that. Like,
oh my, like what would go, like what?
You know, you're fucking with your family, and then this fucking guy, you're like, come on, dude. Really? In the cage? Come on. Really? You got, like, it's unlocked? So what? Like, just walk away, right? And then you, like, see it. And then they come out and they're like, it's a prank, but like you're still like scarred from the initial like that guy's getting fucked by a
The
gorilla.
closest I've ever gotten to something like being part of an Eric Andre prank is I go to do Zephyr's podcast, Uniform Disinterest. Shout out to Zephyr's podcast.
Uniform, that's fire.
That's what he calls it.
It's a good name.
It is a good name, huh? And so I'm walking into his house, and I'm already on mushrooms. It's just how I roll. Like if I go do things that are like creative, I just like to be on mushrooms and walk in, and there's this short Mexican guy and a little girl, like a his kid.
At Zephyr's house?
And I'm like, hey, what are you, like, hey, are you Zephyr's friend? Like, is Zephyr here? And he's like, who are you? And I'm like I'm Zephyr's friend. Like, I'm here to see Zephyr. Is Zephyr here? Like, is Blue here? And he's like, who are you talking about? I think you have the wrong house. And I was like, no, because I'm looking around and I see their stuff.
Uh-huh.
I see the house that I know I'm in the right. I see the chessboard that I play Blue, and I see their fucking gym equipment. Like, I see their shit. But I also see a Mexican man and a small child. And there is no Blue and no Zephyr. And so my brain is like, did they move out and like leave their shit? Like, that was like the only logical conclusion my brain was coming to, is like they must like not live here anymore. And they just ran away, and now these people are here. And then, but I was like, okay, so this is like kind of like a joke, like I'm being joked. And then he was like, "Sir, can you get out? Like, get out of my house." And I was like, "I'm sorry." And I went to go close the door, and then they all started laughing, and they got me so fucking good. And till this day, it still haunts me, because there's something so weird about, like you said, that initial trauma of like I know this is the right house, but I've never seen this man and his daughter before. And the daughter wasn't like laughing or anything. It was just like deadpan.
Just dead serious. Like, yeah,
and
Dad.
This dude was a great actor. Like, he could be an actor. He's like, can you get out? Get out of my house. Like, he was like, looked scared. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's going to defend his daughter. And he's going to murder me.
Like, you just walked in?
I'm in someone's house and I don't know. And I'm on shrooms. Like, oh, I'm on shrooms. This might be fucked up. Like,
that must have freaked you out. That would have freaked me the fuck out, especially if I was tripping. I would have been like...
And then they started laughing. And then we did a podcast. And everything was fine. But like, I was like, fuck, bro.
So wait, who were they?
Just their friends.
He's just friends with this Mexican guy and small child?
Yeah.
Just
I did, and I didn't know.
They were there for the podcast, too?
No, they didn't stay for the podcast. They had to go.
Oh.
I guess they just came by to like say hi or something. I don't know. Never saw them again. Never seen them since.
They just fucked.
They were nice though. We talked. But that's also the other thing. It's like, for that guy not to know me, like, hey, just prank my friend. And he's like, gotcha.
He's like,
100%. With my child, I'll prank your friend.
That's good.
Dude, it works so well. Let's get you another drink, and we'll continue. When we come back, it's gonna keep running.
All right.
We'll talk about your art. One of the paintings you did recently. It looks like a painting. Is it not a painting?
Yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's different stuff coming up.
One of the most recent things that you posted was so fucking dope. I saw it and I was like, this is fucking awesome. And then I saw that you posted it. I was like, what the? I thought it was like an Instagram ad.
Which one was it?
It's like the most recent. It's this one.
This one? Yeah. It's crazy. I honestly wasn't very proud of this one, but I got a lot of like props for it. Like, a lot of people were like, that's my favorite thing you've ever done.
Isn't that annoying how it fucking works, bro?
Yeah, right? You're like, this is my least favorite thing. Everybody's like, that's my favorite thing. You should make more of that. I'm like, well, all right. I'll start releasing more shit I don't like.
Yeah. I'll just release the things that I don't like, I guess. You know what Little Peep is?
Yeah.
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 What the
You know who Pop Smoke is?
I didn't know he was like 22 or whatever. He was like 20.
Yeah, right.
That looked like he looked like a 40 ass.
Like a grown ass man.
He looked like he was like Tupac's dad. He looked so fucking old.
Right. Yeah, man, that shit's crazy though. Just the amount of young deaths in the music scene.
It's so sad.
And people are so promising. Like people that show so much potential.
I think he
He was on the verge of something great, dude.
was I'm sad that like, it hurts me to think of even having out of it.
Oh no, I mean,
When I met you, I was like, oh, this guy can just like. It was that feeling of like meeting an old friend. For me, it was. I was like, oh, this is cool. This guy's cool.
yeah.
Like, actually, that's a lie. At first, I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
I'm being like dead honest. Because like, who the fuck is this guy with a notebook and a campfire?
No, because you were on 1 and 2. I was kind of serving those vibes. You know, everybody's.
But then I talked to you, which is like what you should do if you know,
meet someone
you
that's
want
like,
to be a fucking ignorant asshole. And then I was like, oh no, this guy's cool as fuck. Like
That's
I get
hella
it.
funny.
Like I wouldn't want it any other way. Like
I feel like that has to happen pretty often for you. Who the fuck is this guy?
Actually, funny story. He's one of your friends. That we hung out with that night that the gay door thing happened. He like raps or whatever, does music.
Deontay?
Yeah. When I saw him, he was in like a.
I know what you're talking about.
I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Because he was by himself and he was like popping around, like talking to people. And then I was again on mushrooms and I sat down and then he started just like talking to me.
Dude,
I don't know if this is the right vibes. Like I felt like at first it felt like I'm like, am I gonna fight this guy tonight? And I don't know why I think that sometimes. But then I was like, oh no, he's actually really smart and like cool. And like we talked for a long time.
Dude.
But then we fucking hung out all night.
That's the night we met. Was that not Halloween?
No, we met before that. And then we saw each other again that
On
night.
Halloween. Right.
Yeah.
And you met Joshua, who had the Indian hat on. You know what I'm talking about? The feather hat.
Oh, no, I knew Joshua before that. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I had a crazy
That seems to be the fucking vibe. What happens when you hang out with
almost
Josh.
fought Joshua too.
Yeah. Who don't you almost fight?
I don't know. I have a problem. I like that fucking Napoleon disease. Small man, like, needs to fight everybody.
That just needs. That's hella funny.
I think I always have to defend people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is.
Well, you just got that fighting spirit. You're on the lookout.
I've tried to, like, I have, like, a deep-seated anger in me.
Uh-huh.
Like, I mean, most people do. But
You've talked about this before.
like, I gotta, like... I love this song.
Is this playing like into?
I don't know. Hopefully. I was supposed to play onto that, and then that turned off, I guess.
What is that?
What is what?
Where's the speaker over there?
Oh, it's hard to see, but it's like
Oh, is it on the counter?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I see it. That's what's up. I didn't know you had so many guitars.
Yeah.
How long have you been playing guitar?
There's like some more in my closet too.
Really?
Yeah. I've been playing guitar for a while. I'm not that great though, because I stopped for a long time.
Me neither.
I want to get really good. I want to get like have you ever heard of Polyphia?
Yeah.
Polyphia.
Yeah. No, that fool's nuts. I know who you're talking about.
Jim.
I want to say it is. No.
Yeah, Jim Henson.
Yeah.
Tim Henson.
Tim Henson. Yeah. There we go. No, I follow that fool on Instagram and fucking. Not only.
Bro, he's fuckable.
Yeah, I was. This fool is fucking hot. Like.
Yeah, I was like he like seduced me somehow.
Yeah,
I'm like
bitches
looking at him.
galore.
I'm like, wait a minute, am I getting a crush on? What the fuck?
Yeah, that's bitches galore right there.
That's another thing. It's like,
And
all
he's
that fool
nuts.
does is play guitar.
Yeah, dude.
Like he doesn't give a fuck about bitches. I mean, maybe to some extent, like he wants like a good girl who will let him play guitar.
Yeah, but I mean, if he doesn't have a guitar, he's not smashing nobody.
That's what they talk about, like with like Jimmy Page and shit. Like when they were in like Led Zeppelin, it's like yeah, they have stories about them doing like crazy stuff and like fucking a lot of girls, but like
They're in it for the music.
he had a guitar everywhere he went, and like he talked through his guitar.
For
That's
sure.
how he spoke. So when he'd be in interviews, he'd be super uncomfortable, and he'd be like, "I was gonna go play guitar." And he'd just leave.
You're like, you're talking to me, but this is not what I do.
And they're like, "So how do you like Led Zeppelin?" He's like, "I play guitar." It's like, what? That's not the question. He's like, guitar. and then the next question is like, blah 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 blah, and he's like, "Drun," and like just actually plays guitar. Like doesn't even answer. Do you not understand what I'm saying yet?
That'd be funny if they just like interviewed his guitar. They just
Yeah,
asked his
dude,
guitar questions, and his guitar's just like.
Honestly, they would get more from that interview.
Oh, definitely.
100%.
Like from the individual,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah.
They could just take a picture of his guitar, and it would speak more than he ever did in his life. So tell me about your art. So let me actually give you a little preface. So I met Q at Picnic, and he was just this kid, interesting looking kid, with a notebook. And all I saw was the notebook. And I was
Fucking
like,
square.
no, it wasn't even square. I was like, is this dude just trying to like hit on chicks by like looking artsy? I was like, is this his move? Like, is he just trying to look artsy? And then I started talking to him, and then I realized it's not about that at all. Like, you're legitimate, like, and you're legitimately dedicated to it. Like journaling, like you like wrote down like our interaction.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like we were speaking, and we were like, he's like, hey, this is a cool conversation, but I'm gonna go like journal this really fast. And he like left. He like just like dipped and then wrote down. I don't know what was. I think you did read it to us.
Yeah.
And so one, I think you're an amazing writer, and then two, if anyone looks into your notebook, and hopefully this isn't like too personal, I think you post pictures of your notebook, right, on Instagram. Mm-hmm. He has amazing art that he just like these doodles of these encounters, and on top of that, he just recently like posted something on his Instagram that it for me it was like art that I think I have seen before, and that's why it's so appealing. It's like I actually thought this was like something that I thought it was like an Instagram ad. Mm-hmm. And I was like, holy fuck, like, that's cool art. And then I looked at it, and it was you who posted it. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, you didn't like that piece too much. Everyone seems to like it.
Yeah.
But so tell me, how did you, what started the journaling?
Well,
and why do you do it?
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good place to start, actually. So when we met initially, like, me writing was kind of like a way of coping. Like at the time I was going through a breakup, and I was still living with said individual, and just I really wanted to write. I couldn't find myself able to write in the environment that I was. So I was drawn to Picnic because we had gone there before. But back home where I'm from, Modesto, we had a coffee shop that I used to go to all the time. Me and my homie, we were a two-piece band, and we used to play shows there all the time. They used to have open mic nights every first Tuesday of the month. And I used to, you know, read some poetry every once in a while. I used to write a lot of poetry, and I used to go there to write like my thoughts when I was dealing with family stuff. And what it was it was a house converted into a coffee shop. So that's kind of what drew me to Picnic, was the fact that it's kind of like a house converted to a bar. And I had just turned 21, and I met a lot of the bartenders and the bouncer there, and just they made me feel like at home. So going there just to write was kind of what I was drawn to. And I found myself meeting people almost every time I went, and not only writing about those people, but also like engaging in some like really intellectual conversation with those people, even with people that I felt I probably would have never connected with otherwise. Not you guys, but there were some people that I had met that like I wouldn't have ended up conversing with if I wasn't
Like
sitting there writing, you know? Yeah, Joshua was
I never
them.
thought like he was just like this group of guys, and then I was like, like it doesn't seem like a group of guys I would ever talk to.
And Joshua
then we
was
started talking
now
about mushrooms, and
yeah,
like, oh, we just want a psychedelic trip, and like everyone's like freaking out.
And Joshua's now like one of my best homies out here. Like
He's
I've got
a
lot of people that I've spent a lot of time with, and he's one of them for sure. And Picnic was just like the meeting place for a lot of people that I've met out here in Reno, you guys included.
I think
Deontay I met there.
The heart.
Yeah, right? Low key, like all the best people go there. Mm-hmm. But I was just journaling and making myself feel better. I wasn't really writing about anything in particular, but it was almost as if like I was sitting there having conversations with myself, like writing literally what I was thinking. And as I'm writing it and reading it along, like I got to a point where the person in my head and the person sitting here writing in the book were having literal conversations on the paper. Like
that's a cool place.
I was referring to myself in the paper. So like if you read it as if you were the one writing it, which I thought was like really interesting, and it kind of just pushed me to keep writing. But that was a journal I had for years, and I was in a philosophy class that like really changed my life and had a huge impact. He would give credit just for signing and dating the paper. So, and he was like, write anything you find interesting. So what had started that notebook was I'd go into class, I'd date it, I'd write my name, and I'd sit there and I'd listen to him talk, and I'd just start doodling. And whenever he said something super profound, I'd just put it in quotation marks and continue the doodle, and then put it in quotation marks. And I ended up like turning them into him, and he'd give them back at the end of the week. So if you look on my Instagram, you'll see like if it's dated and it has my name, or it says SQ on it, and it's got quotes or a doodle, like odds are it was from that philosophy class, which like really kind of shaped just a lot of the ways that I like to think. Like I just enjoy existential conversation. I don't really write much anymore.
Why?
I really want to, but I think since one, work, and two, I'm not in that uncomfortable environment I was in, so I'm not really like pushed out of my house anymore. When I get off of work, I'm like, I just want to chill now. Before, it was almost like an escape, and now there's not really anything to escape from. So I gotta give myself that kick again to kind of just write, because I enjoyed it, and it was a good outlet for emotions. And I think after my past couple of bad trips, it's probably something I should start up again, just for
challenging trips.
Yeah, challenging trips. Yeah, I like that. But when it comes to the art, I have always been a creative individual. Like I've never considered myself an artist until recently, and haven't really started taking it seriously until maybe like a year ago. But I think the first piece I have posted on my Instagram was my first shrooms trip after I graduated high school. I knew I didn't want to go into any like career. I had already decided that I didn't want to go to college and study something unless I was sure that's what I wanted to go into. I took shrooms and I made this piece, and I was like, wow, like I like making art. And I started doing more doodles. And as time went on, things became less like cohesive pieces and more just kind of like doodles to mentally escape. Like if you look at some of them, they're really they're just out there. Like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. This kind of looks like that. You can flip it upside down and look at it like. And as time goes on, I find myself making a lot of the same things, and it's cool because I feel like I'm also tapping into a certain style that I like, but there's a piece I feel like I'm missing in my art. So, I mean, long story short, what it is that I make is an I don't want to call it an expression of self because I really don't care what other people think about it. That's why I post everything, whether I like it or not. But it's more.
That's how I do my music. I hate my music, and I'm just like, oh, it's so bad.
You just post it.
It's like I gotta get. I mean, if I get over that fear of like looking terrible, maybe one day I'll make something that sounds halfway decent.
Definitely.
And then it won't matter.
And that's kind of like the goal, you know, to get to a point where I'm making things that I feel are decent, but I still don't care about opinions of others, which is, I had a kind of like a breakdown where I was kind of conflicted on what it is that I should and shouldn't post. And I just said, fuck it, and posted everything, all my journal entries, all my art, all my doodles, halfway done things, full pieces, like, and just got it all out there. So then there was no more questioning.
Where did you post it? Was this on your Instagram?
Yeah. If you look, like, it was around the time that this was a while ago. This is when I had first started. I had changed.
So since then you started just posting everything.
It's kind of when I accepted, like, I had a shift. I had experienced something at a festival and completely shifted my, like, train of thought. Like, my social media was no longer like, oh, here's pictures of me doing shit, but like, this is like my shit. You know, I had changed my name from my name to Polly Pleakley, which like is a name that I hold close to my heart, and like it's like.
So I know what Polly means, but what does Pleakley mean?
So Pleakley is the one-eyed alien from Lilo and Stitch.
Oh.
So he's an alien from outer space that. The only reason why they haven't destroyed Earth yet is because mosquitoes are an endangered species. And the fool has one eye, two tongues, and he comes down and he's a cross-dresser, which is like so fucking funny. Like
he's like Lilo and Stitch?
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking advanced. Is that like a newer one or old one?
You haven't seen Lilo and Stitch?
I've seen the original, but I don't remember. I like as a kid.
He's in it. He's the dude that creates Stitch, the big Jumba character, he's the guy that they send to go with him to make sure that Jumba does what he's supposed to do, which is bring Stitch back, because he's like a fighting machine. But what stuck to me was the one eye.
Watch that movie.
The one eye being the third eye, and then the fact that he's got two tongues being like the two perspectives in which I speak from, which is like. You know, it's like it goes back to that duality of existence where it's like this and that always.
That makes me want to split my tongue so much.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about that, getting a split tongue?
I've thought about it, but I don't think I would do it.
Because people get fucked up. People don't talk about that, but you can lose all of your sense of taste, and people can drool permanently.
Yeah.
Do you know that? That's what happens to a lot of
people. If you do it right. But I've always thought it was cool.
Yeah, no, it's fucking dope. So it's like people who have it like have awesome fucking tongues because now they have two tongues.
You know what I heard though?
What?
Just a little piece of information. So you know it heals back, right?
Oh, go fuck yourself. So you have to get it recut?
Yeah, when you get it cut, it'll heal back partially. But if you pierce your tongue and you have your tongue pierced for a couple years,
and then you get it cut,
and then you get it split, it'll heal up to the piercing and it won't continue
pierce
past
it
that.
back hella far to do and then get it split. That'd be smart.
Yeah, that's what I would recommend because I was super interested in it at one point and had found that out.
I don't know what they do now. I'm sure they give you some like Novocaine spray or something to make it really chill. But I like when people first started doing it, there was like no sedative. It was just like, we're gonna cut your tongue in half.
Yeah.
And that's so brutal.
That's wild.
They just took scissors and just like,
Yeah. I've seen videos and like people cry and like,
ugh.
fucking you're bleeding and your tongue's literally in half, and all they do is they fucking stick some paper towel in it, and they're like, yeah, like no, no nothing. They're just like fucking.
Yeah,
all right,
like,
you're
what
done.
is the aftercare? Like,
yeah, right.
I got my fucking lip pierced a long time ago. I don't remember what side it on. I have a hole like forever now. But it, I just remember like caring for that was a bitch. Like, and then. Like, I like piercings, but they're such a pain in the ass to take care of that, like, I don't do it anymore. Especially because I do martial arts and shit. So I'm like...
Oh, I bet. That's just a
You have to take them out all the time. You take them, put them back in. And like, they like, my lip ring would, like... The inside of my lip would heal hella fast. Mm-hmm. So every time I put it back in, I'd always have to, like, re-pierce some amount of skin. Yeah, and then, like parts of the outside and like inside would kind of heal, so I'd like the hole would be like jagged.
Yeah, it's like
so it's like I had to like through my lip, and I'd be like fuck, and then it would swell up for like the rest of the day, and then I would take it out again, and then I was just like, this is enough. I can't do this anymore.
It's just a headache. I feel that happened with my nose ring. I had lost it, and had to re-pierce it. And
how many piercings do you have?
3.
Is it your ears?
Yeah, my nose and my ears.
Okay.
I want my belly button pierced so bad.
Really? Why? Just cause?
Because how many guys you know have their belly button pierced?
Not many. Yeah,
I feel like chicks would think it's hot.
Yeah, chicks probably do it because they want guys to do it. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Like, I wish a guy would do this.
But like, imagine you're hitting on a chick, right, and then she finds out you have your belly button pierced. In what world does she think you're not that hot anymore? Like, you're less hot because you have your belly button pierced.
Right?
If she thinks I'm less hot because my belly button's pierced, she's probably not somebody that I want to be conversing with anyways.
Yeah, not your style.
You know what I'm saying?
No, so, she's probably like...
It's not my style.
She's probably trying to fuck a lumberjack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
it's like, you're not... It's a good filter, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's all it ever is,
It's definitely like I mean... You just have to do this, and then she's like, "Oh, whoa."
Right, like painting your nails. Right?
Oh yeah.
I use it as like, it keeps like the dudes that you don't need to converse with far away from you, because they're like
that. You know what's fucking hilarious is like, because I'm probably technically with a lot of those dudes you don't want to converse with because of martial arts, right? Because there's a lot of meatheads that get into martial arts.
Oh, for sure.
And it's, by the way, this is what I thought before going into martial arts, is that there's a lot of meatheads that want to get in there. And it's maybe because I just do jiu-jitsu. Definitely if you go into like boxing or Muay Thai, there's a lot more meathead people who are like, why are your nails painted or whatever. But in jiu-jitsu, people are more open-minded. They're more cerebral kind of people. But I'm still the only guy who has my nails painted. And like, I paint my toenails too.
Well, you probably would be for a while.
Yeah, and like,
they're not judging you for it, but they're like, no way.
Especially when you choke them out. Like, what are you gonna say? Like, that's why I love martial arts so much, because it's like here's this like effeminate guy, and it's like, but he's also murdering me. Yeah. Like, what are you gonna do? It's hilarious, and it's like, I don't know. That's like. The reason I paint my nails is because I've always wanted to do it since like high school. Mm-hmm. And then
I'm the same way, but then people ask why as if there has to be a reason. Right.
Right. And then and then we respond like we have to like justify it.
Yeah.
So it's like not only people think there should be a reason, but it's also like the people who do it feel like they need to justify why they do it.
Mm-hmm. My response is always, if you don't like me because my nails are painted, like, that's why I paint my nails, to keep you far away from me. That's all.
You know what? This is why I like Little Peep so much, is because he like brought out the high schooler in me again. Mm-hmm. Because he embodied so much of like what I wanted to be in and thought I was in high school. And
I know exactly.
As I was becoming, because I had corporate jobs and stuff, so I became this like weird like adult. But I mean, I would walk into my office, in an IT office at a furniture company, with painted nails, and I would be their project manager, and they would all look at me like, are you doing? Like, I would hold meetings and be like, so this is what we need to do today, and this is like what we're getting done this week, and this is like the prospectus of the project, and they're like, why are your nails red?
You're like, focus, Jim. All right.
My boss's name was actually Jim. and
funny.
I lived with his daughter. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so that's actually how I got the job is my ex was friends, like was a roommate and then like best friends with his daughter. And then I probably got the job just because I knew him prior to getting the job. And I interviewed, and then I started out as an IT tech, like kind of like an intern. And then they fired their project manager, and they're like, well, we know you want to like move up. Do you just want to do
a project
like,
manager?
First, they made me do QA. Like I was like QA, like aspiring project manager.
Mm-hmm. And
then they're like, all right. It was literally like a week of doing QA, and they're like, actually, you're just the project manager now. So, because they didn't have one.
That's pretty dope.
And then,
what were you a project manager for? Like multiple companies, or
no? So,
what did you actually do there?
So I was a project manager for More Furniture, in their IT. I basically helped them develop like software projects. They had like an internal IT department, and they developed these projects to make their company work better internally. So they had this like really old system they used for all of their internal fucking inventory stuff, and so we wanted to like automate it. They lived in the Stone Age pretty much.
Gotcha. So
and
you like brought
kind of
them
trying
up
to bring
speed.
them to the future, and that was just kind of like
I feel it
on board to. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I was a shitty project manager. But I was a lot better than the one that
than the last one.
Yeah, which is hilarious because she was so fucking bad, bro. Like, but it's even funnier, and this is like the real tea, is I'm really bad at I'm really bad at talking myself up. So I'm terrible at writing resumes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I'm the type of person who's like, I can just do the thing if you want me to do the thing. I'm not gonna fucking sit here and like flash.
Tell you why I can do the thing.
I'm not gonna like stroke myself off in front of you. And so I I just looked up her resume and I copied everything she said and then just went my projects in. Which is like so insulting because she got fired. And
she got fired. You're like, well, I do everything she does, but better.
Yeah, but better. And here's what I work on. And till this day, it still is that.
That's funny.
But
so your resume is still ex project manager's resume.
100%. just with an updated list of the exact same language, exact same like bullet points.
That's funny.
Like the way she described it, like I still use her words. And that's not to say like I could describe things that well, but I have like a block when I do it about myself.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted me to talk about you, I would make you sound like the next Elon Musk. And he'd be like, he just journals. Like, he's gonna take us to space? What the fuck? But like when I do it about myself, it's like what?
You're like, I'm a piece of shit.
Like a literal like sagebrush like rolls across the page. You're just like it bursts itself and like and you hear crickets. You're like, what the fuck? It's like magic.
It's like fucking SpongeBob trying to write his essay. It's just a big extravagant like.
Honestly, if a student turned that in, I would be like, you are probably the most brilliant person.
Yeah. First of all, you're using pencil. All these other jerks are fucking typing up their shit.
Yeah.
It's like you had to sharpen it. Like, I'm gonna frame this.
God, how good was SpongeBob, bro? As a kid, you don't
good
understand
is an understatement.
How good it was. Like, as a child, you're like, this is fun. But, like, as an adult, you're like, holy shit. Like, the things that they were telling me about what's going to happen next, the warnings they gave us. Like, I wish I would have heeded the warnings of SpongeBob.
As a kid, it's like, it's funny, like, for me especially. I don't know, maybe it's because, and I think you relate. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but ADHD, right? But, like,
yeah, exactly.
as a kid,
Very important point.
As a kid, I'd watch it, and loved it. But now, like, there are certain shows that pass the test of being background noise. You know, like, you can't throw on anything in the background. SpongeBob 100% passes that test. Like, Family Guy, yes. South Park, yes. It's almost as if, like, the curriculum, I think, is it's got to have this many episodes to where you could play it from wherever and never run out of shit to be playing.
But you can also, it's like you can, like you said, it's like background noise. You can also just, like, when you're done doing your dishes or your laundry or whatever the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, you can just click into whatever episode is on.
It could be like literally the last 3 minutes of the episode. You'd be like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. This is brilliant.
Absolute gas.
Every part of it is great.
Yeah.
Wait, can you imagine making something where you have to fill 30 minutes and every single minute has to be fire?
Yeah. That's why I feel like cartoons is kind of an easier business. But, you know, I'm always hesitant to tell people this, but I was watching it yesterday, and I don't give a fuck. Like, my favorite show, one of, arguably, all time, Friends. Whether you agree or not, dude, that show...
I'm actually with you.
Gold.
I'm actually with you. And people will say all this stuff is like, well, watch it without the laugh track. It's not actually funny. It's like...
Man,
dude, I don't think they're missing, like, the cultural context of, like, what that show actually
yeah, it's
was.
almost like I feel like people who can't watch a show with laugh tracks are the same people that can't watch a show with subtitles. Like, you just aren't good at separating those things in your brain. Like, and that's fine.
Like,
I'm not judging you for it.
You can still think that thing is funny.
Yeah. Oh, I can't laugh because everybody else thought it was funny. Like, no, everybody else thought that shit was funny because it was fucking funny.
Like, the thing is like, when you watch a show like Friends, it looks awkward when there's no laugh track because they're doing comedic pauses.
And the difference, though, is...
So the space in between, like, the reason when there's no laugh track and there's no one laughing, and the reason that's awkward is because it's not a general cadence of a conversation. Yeah. It would be funny if they kept it going. But they don't film it that way.
It's a set. Like, you turn the camera around and there's other things over there. Like, it's not, it's a different form of show where I think it's annoying. And some people, I don't know. But if you watch The Big Bang Theory, the first 3 seasons are really funny. Everything after the 3rd season is... The laugh track is recorded.
That's what I'm saying.
They use the same. They use, like, it's like, oh, they tell a joke, long pause, press the button for laughter.
And that type of shit. That's when it's actually not funny.
Yeah, that sucks because even if it wasn't funny, everybody's laughing. Like,
now you feel manipulated.
Yeah, you're like, wait a second, that wasn't funny at all.
You know what show I also liked? House.
Oh,
I mean, no, Full House. I loved House.
Yeah,
I loved House.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. I loved House.
You said House, and I was like, banger show, different realm.
Not a sitcom, but I mean, Full House.
No, like, Full House is fantastic as well.
The original, the new one is like, what are you guys doing?
I haven't even seen
What is up with fucking people trying to come back on old shit?
Dude, everything. Bro. Everything. And honestly, they all suck.
It's just like this corporate mindset. It's like,
I don't know,
squeeze more pennies out of this if we make like them come back?
I don't know a single remake that was
coming
good.
Back, bro. Like, aren't you done?
Yeah, right?
Dude, it ruined your entire life because you were a child actor. Why are you back here?
Pause. To be fair, Friends, for the record, did not come back. I thought they did come back, and I was like, I don't know if they could do this late. But they have a Friends reunion that just came out.
That's a different thing. Yeah. That's just like a cast getting back together.
Yeah, it's like a cast interview after years, which is great.
I'm talking about fucking Fuller House.
Yeah, no. I didn't even give that the time of day.
Yeah, a lot of the same people on there, and I'm like...
It's not the same show, though. And Michelle isn't in there.
Yeah, and, well, yeah.
There's no way you're getting the Olsen twins on there.
No, dude. They're too busy doing coke and
yeah, dude.
starving themselves to death. Or not anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, who the fuck knows where they're at?
Yeah, good. No one's talking about them anymore, and they're probably happy about it. Yeah.
Good for them.
Holy shit. Britney Spears, right? The fuck? Have you seen that stuff?
What stuff?
stuff about Britney Spears, like that, like
Oh,
there's,
that
like,
she's
a huge
not.
documentary that like came out. I haven't watched the documentary. I've just been following like people talking about it, but like
I have.
I think
I have
'cause
no clue what you're talking about.
I don't think that I'll ever become like A-list celebrity famous, but like the goal of this podcast is to get enough viewers to do something, right? Now, I've been thinking about like if that's my goal, to have enough viewers to support artists, right?
Totally.
What happens though, because the proxy of that is fame to some extent. A lot of it will be my audience, but outside of it are other peripheral people who are, you would call the haters or the indifferents, right? In terms of like your audience. And especially if you get a giant reach, and it's like, what do you do with that pressure?
Oh, fuck them.
And then it's not the like pressure on me, but it's like, what happens when, I mean, this is why I don't think it would ever really affect me. So say if this podcast got big, it's all me. I say what to do. And this is why Joe Rogan is so successful, is like, there's no one paying him to tell him what to do. He got to deal with Spotify, and Spotify can't tell him what to do. That's part of the deal. And then if they do tell him what to do, he literally leaves with $300 million. Like, that's a huge loss on them. And so
I feel like their loss, though, isn't the $300 million. It's the revenue they would receive from Joe Rogan continuing to work with him.
Oh, dude, I think they made more money in like the first week of him being there than they paid him.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Most definitely.
So he gets $300 million just to be on it, though. Like, I think he still gets ad revenue, but like,
Okay, gotcha.
but they still get a certain portion of that ad revenue from every show he has. And if you have 1 million concurrent viewers on every show, that's a lot of fucking money that you're getting.
For however long the podcast lasts straight. And then
And
not
it's
only that,
growing.
but after it exists, like, they're still drawing listens from that. Like,
And then every controversy, it blows his audience. Like, he gets the most numbers he's ever had. So they're like, oh, he said this. And then people are like, oh, well, I want to watch Joe Rogan now.
yeah. Let's see what he has to say about it.
Yeah, let's see what he has to say about this controversy. And that's the funny thing about Joe Rogan is, like, I get a lot of people don't agree with, like, his ideas. But if you actually watch his podcasts for, like, even half a second, and besides, like, the clips that people post online, you'll see that he's very, like, even-tempered about his ideas.
He's a free
and he's
thinker.
very open, yeah. He may be wrong about things, but he's still open.
But yeah, he's willing to listen. Like, he's not opinionated. Like, maybe he has some ideas that you may not agree with, but if you were to sit down and talk with him, you'd be able to have a conversation on why you guys don't agree with this thing. Like, he's not pushing any agenda on anybody.
No, the only thing he pushes is Alpha Brain.
What's that?
Just some fucking supplement that his company uses. And he doesn't push it on the he'll it's not like the center of his podcast. It's just like almost a meme.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I've got this thing on the side. It's Alpha Brain. You should try it. Anyways,
well, it's kind of like, thank God I took my Alpha Brain today. I wouldn't be able to think clearly. And then it's like, continue.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little self promo, but you can't hate him for that. You know how many people are like
on that show just to promote themselves.
Yeah, true.
That's actually what creeped me out about podcasts. Is like I've been noticing, because it's one thing when you're just a listener, but then when you're a listener and a creator, you start to see more of a different side of what's happening. You see more of the
what has to happen in order for it to keep on going.
Yeah, and then I listen to all these comedian podcasts because I'm a podcast fan. Like that's through and through. Like I listen to a bunch of fucking podcasts, but like it seems, and not all of them, but most of the time, the only time you have a guest on is if they're promoting something. And that fucking like.
Well, because no one's really interested unless they've got something that they could benefit from. You know, because, like, I mean, is Joe Rogan paying people to be on his show? No. Like, yeah, great, I get to be on Joe Rogan's show, but then what? Then 1 million people know my name now? Like, they got to know something of... There's got to be a desire to be on his show.
People that go on Joe Rogan's show that aren't currently promoting some crazy, like a new book or something.
Which sucks.
Which is like, the cool thing is like Joe Rogan at least has people he's interested in. It's not like
that's what I was gonna say. I feel like to a certain extent he probably reaches out to most of these people, and these people take the opportunity to get
the bigger audience or whatever. But But then there's people on lower podcasts that don't have that incentive for them to come on, but they're like, at least you get to promote. So we'll let you promote your thing. And it seems like they only have, like, they'll have people on just to promote. And they'll still have interesting conversations. There's nothing, like, wrong with these people, but it's still, like...
I get that.
That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, though, because I don't want to see that shit.
Like,
I want a community of artists. This is what I want Far From Home to become. It's like a thing where...
Well, because your idea is to promote artists within the podcast itself.
Yeah, like a priori promote.
As opposed to, hey, you know, we know you've got this thing that you're promoting. We've got a podcast that you could come and do that on. Like, you just got to talk with this guy. And these people are like, yeah, all right, let's talk to this guy. But at the same time, like, this is really what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Promote, blah, blah, blah. But, like, I love what you're doing. This is great. And I know this is, like, early beginnings. This is what your third or fourth show
right now. Like literally, like which will be funny.
We're just two dudes having a conversation.
There's even ever 100 people watching this, which is like a pretty minuscule goal for an internet show. If there's ever even like 100 people watching this, that's like the craziest thing to say. It's like, here's a show where there was 0 people watching.
This is.
But I feel like we're talking like this is a show that 1 million people are watching.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and that's you
got to put the energy out there.
Exactly. And that's why, and also I think Reno, as I moved away from it and I saw like what like San Diego was, right? Reno is so much more real than San Diego. I'm sorry, San Diegans, but like you guys are too comfortable. Like, yeah, like you guys are San Diegans. Like what is more fucking soft than being called a San Diegan? Bruh.
That's hella funny. San Diegans.
It's sandy eggs. Sandy eggs, bro.
What are they out here? What are we, Renoites?
Dude, we're just fucking Reno kids. Like, we don't even have like a cool like weird name. People are too scared to give us something. Yeah. Like they're like, oh, those are those Reno kids.
Yeah, we're Battleborn, Hemi.
Oh yeah, for our state is called Battleborn. What battle? Yeah. What? I don't remember this history. What the fuck? What are we talking about?
No, we're born
Some
for
historians
it.
like, we're 1930. Yeah. I was like, sorry.
I feel like it's a future thing.
For real.
Born for
That's
battle.
why I want to fight everybody I meet.
You're like, what?
Battle
Yeah,
bro. It's in my blood.
This feels ready. Yeah.
It's like Viking shit.
Yeah, that's one thing I kind of really like am drawn to about Reno is just everybody's really and you know, with some exceptions, everybody's really raw and really straight up. And like when I first got here, a lot of people warned me about people in Reno. They're like, watch out. Like there are shitty people and there are people that will take advantage of you and there are people that will lie to get what they want from you. And like I have yet to run into any people like that, but at the same time, like it's so real to hear that from someone. Like
it's like, yeah, like watch out. Like, there's wolves here.
Yeah, I feel like I've got, I don't give off that energy. I'm not, looking, and I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of character, and I feel like I'm drawn to the more genuine individuals, and I don't give the fake people the time of day. I'm just not interested in that. Like,
yeah. Well, you know what my theory is?
What's your theory?
The reason, like, there's definitely wolves in Reno, like at least in high school sense. I think everyone still is traumatized from high school in Reno, and that's why they say that. Because in high school, I just remember everyone getting in fights and getting stabbed in parties, and like that was my entire childhood, was going to a party and it ended with someone getting stabbed or shot. Like every single fucking party. If there wasn't like 2 fights at a party, it wasn't a party.
How long have you lived in Reno?
And this was like high school parties. And then I go to San Diego and I go to a fucking frat college party and they're all like respectful about like the noise.
And like keep it down. Hey bro, do you mind if I
close the door?
Can I get a shot from your handle, please?
Bro, 100%. Yeah. Dude, we're talking about parties in La Jolla. And we're not even allowed to have a football team because the city won't allow it. Because we're not allowed to have a frat row in La Jolla because the city won't allow it. So we have to have these like fucking houses that are basically a frat row, but they can't have letters in front of them. Or like it's so goofy and it's fucking dumb.
Dude, the way you say La Jolla though, La Jolla.
But these frat parties were just like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I bet SDSU, like San Diego State, they went hard.
Oh, for sure.
But that's because they have a football team and they have the top models in the country going to that fucking school.
Yeah.
Right?
But in La Jolla.
You have a bunch of like rich tech kids who are like, just trying to make like the next Facebook.
Yeah.
Or, you know, build some gene therapy or have biodegradable flip-flops. Real thing. That's like I guess one of the kids from...
Real thing.
So the inventor of GoPro,
Mm-hmm.
my school, the inventor of the boomerang on Instagram, that technology, UCSD, my school. UCSD.
Oh.
University of California, San Diego.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's where my friend goes, but that's not where he goes. He goes to USC.
USC, University of Southern California. All the UC, USC, all the California schools are very confusing, and I actually didn't even know I was going to UCSD when I went there. I thought I was going to SDSU because I came from Reno, Nevada, and we have UNR. So we have UNR and UNLV. So I'm like, oh, you can't fuck that up. San Diego's too small. Like, well, that's a different city. Like, UNLV is a different place. It's still University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
So you thought you were going to...
So I thought there was one fucking college. There's like four... what is it, like...
Yeah, it's
There's
nuts.
3 main colleges, and there's probably like 6 sub-colleges.
Because you have to take into account, like, it's one city, but how many people live there. Like, it's...
So I thought I enrolled in SDSU. I wanted to go to a party school.
So are you born and raised Reno?
Yeah.
So you went to San Diego for school then?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Went to UNR for a little bit, and then I transferred to UCSD.
For how long did you go to UCSD?
2 years.
So you never graduated?
No, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything, though, unfortunately.
What did you major in?
Cognitive science.
And that is what, brain?
It's basically neuroscience.
So...
I would have majored in neuroscience if it was for, I had to take one... Hey, fuck you, UCSD. So get this shit. I had 1 credit to take.
Lame.
Right? 1 credit, 1 class.
Mm-hmm.
3 credits, technically 1 class. And it was linear algebra. And I was holding it off because I didn't want, like, it's hard, especially at this competitive school, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to have enough time to take it, but it never ended up, I couldn't, the way the class schedules worked out, I literally could not take it. It was never at a time where I could take it plus another class that I needed to take. So it ended up being where I'd have to take it the next quarter for $20,000. Because you can't buy it per class. So you pay for the entire quarter, which they do a lump sum of how many credits you would take on average per quarter.
So they charged you...
So they would have charged
an entire quarter for, like, someone going for, like...
Literally 1 class.
Wow. Fuck that, dude. Instead of just charging you for the 1 class for that quarter? That's whack.
Dude, that's $20,000 for 1 class is essentially what it came down to. Like, that's the receipt.
That's whack.
And on top of that, there was no student housing. Like, I was by myself. Like, so.
Like, making ends meet. Like, yeah, right.
So I went and talked to I had to, like, finagle the system. I was like, how do I do this? I have all the credits. And I was like, okay, cognitive science is the closest thing that I can graduate with all of my credits. So instead of having so I was neuroscience.
But cognitive science was all that you had.
1 step below, and I could graduate without taking that course.
That's fucking lame. So, is there a difference between... I mean, obviously there's a difference between the degrees, but does that change what you can and can't do?
Kinda. Guess what changes what I can and can't do is laboratory experience. Which I was too busy trying to graduate on time to get lab experience. And the only thing that actually matters,
but you wouldn't have had
experience.
You wouldn't have had lab experience either way, huh?
Not a chance. Not if I wanted to graduate, or I would have been like another $60,000.
Fuck that, dude. That's crazy.
It's wild, right?
Yeah, that's what I like tried to avoid with high school. Like, literally, I still don't know what I want to do. If I was to go to if I was to go to college, I'd major in business for sure. Like right now, that's where my head is at.
Just start your own fucking business.
Not necessarily to start my own. Well, yeah.
No, that's what I'm
but
saying.
Just
though,
to know
is
the
like,
ins and outs of, whether it's I go the art or the music direction, like just to have that kind of knowledge and just be able to, start off in the right foot in whichever direction I wanted to go. Because I know for sure that whether I'm working another job or not, I definitely want to pursue my personal interests, whether it's music or art, and to have the knowledge on how to market and profit off of those things would be, I feel like in the long run, beneficial to me, because I don't see myself pursuing anything else.
You know what I can tell you though, is being around people who do that and like did do that. Mm-hmm. You're better off just looking up YouTube tutorials.
Yeah,
that's how they got through school.
That's what I'm saying. Like
that's how they passed their classes. That's how I passed math, was looking up tutorials on how to do math. Mm-hmm. Why am I going to college? Why am I paying all this money if I had to look it up on YouTube?
Yeah.
Why isn't there enough resources at the college to help me understand this in a better way than YouTube? If I'm paying this money, then I shouldn't even think YouTube should be a horrible option for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like YouTube should be the last resort.
You should be getting everything you need.
It literally should not be a resort. I should be able to find out everything I need to do from the university itself. It should be a self-contained system.
You're 100% right. And that's how I felt. Like, as someone who always learned the things that I learned that mattered to me came from the internet. Mm. Like, there's one thing I learned from school that I gained from, and that was from Mr. Taylor, senior year, my English teacher, told me that I don't have to go to school. Like, that whole section of senior year was like, Mr. Taylor changed my life.
Yeah, because you take that test in junior year to see if you'll graduate.
Yeah.
And so senior year is just the seat hours. And so it's like, you literally, that's why you get half days.
Yeah, and he was telling us like you could do anything you want without college, essentially. Like, there are certain things that require a college degree, and yeah, you will have to go to college for that. But if you want to do this, or this, like, don't go. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of your resources. It's a waste of your time. And I was like, dude, thanks, Mr. Taylor, for keeping it real. Like
100%. Like, there's certain things on a job that where people will get picked over you if you don't have a degree or whatever. Mm. But guess how you get picked over them without a degree? Experience. By knowing somebody. Yeah. Experience. Oh, well, yeah. But also, somebody. If literally the way the job market works, and this is what no one fucking tells you, is it's literally who you know. Mm. If I know the head hiring agent at Tesla, do you think I'm not going to get fucking hired?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, this fool's going to get me a job.
Dude, if I go into, name a company. Name a fucking suit and tie type company.
Suit and tie. Instagram.
If I fucking know the hiring agent at Instagram on a personal basis, let's not even say personal basis. If I just know their dad. Yeah. Like, oh, I'm friends with your dad. And they'd be like, oh, really? You know my dad? He's yeah, I'm kind of looking for a job right now. That's kind of what I know how to do. And they're like,
don't worry. We'll get you a job.
Fuck. The fuck? Dude,
like, sorry, dude. We know you went to school for 6 years.
You're working with people. And if you're not working with the people, you're working with an algorithm. And good luck being the algorithm. This is why people don't get hired when they apply for jobs that they're qualified for. The algorithm looks for, like, because the algorithm is also designed by people who aren't that bright. They don't understand that having poor white space in the margins of your resume isn't indicative of how you'll perform at a job. Mm. But the algorithm just decides that that's not an appropriate resume. Mm. And the person who designed the algorithm might not even know that. So your algorithm gets automatically filtered out of the pile, regardless of your experience or what you say you could do. You could literally be Elon Musk and put your algorithm in and put your resume in, and the algorithm will sort you out. Mm-hmm. Like, they'll be like, nah.
And it's crazy how right you are about that. Like,
do you think Elon applies for jobs? Or do you think he walks in and meets with people and then they give him the contract?
Yeah. No, you're right.
There's no application. And if there is an application, it's handled by interns. There's no like he's filling it out himself. He might have to sign it, but he's not filling it out himself. That's the way the world works. It's a human-to-human basis still, which is odd.
Truly, I feel like for some people, that's actually quite comforting.
It's very comforting, but it's also very scary because that's why Hollywood is so gross.
Hollywood fucking sucks.
It's because you have to be this fake ass piece of shit just to get on people's good side. That's why people use each other. And now the same thing happens with companies. It's like, oh, I didn't know you worked at blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm going to be your friend so I can fucking get this job. And
wow.
That's why people just fucking are so two-faced. And you can't even almost blame them because you're talking about someone's ability to pay rent and survive.
Wow.
You can blame them because, I mean, you can have your own moral opinion, but in terms of, like, surviving, you can't be upset about it. Mm-hmm. It's like, if it really came down to, like, needing to feed your family, I'd be fake as fuck. If I had, like, 3 kids I needed to pay for, and I was worried about... Yeah, I'd be like, oh, well, yeah, I'd say anything.
Damn. That's crazy. Because that speaks for a lot of things even outside of work. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it speaks for work, but I don't know. I guess you can't really believe everything that you hear. Everybody's got their own, like, agenda. That's why it's cool to people that, like...
What's your agenda?
My agenda? Honestly, if I could, I would not work. I would not work. My dream would be to profit off of, like, the things that I make with my own drive. Which is why, like, these days I feel like I'm just so, like, down in the dumps because I feel like I'm not creating art to the extent that I want to. As big of dreams I have to make music, I just don't feel like I'm musically inclined enough. My dream was always to use art to profit or to fund my music dreams and then use music to fund the rest of my life. But right now, I'm kind of just in a spot where, like, I'm in a good spot because, you know, I'm comfortable, I'm making money, I'm saving money, I'm happy. I love where I'm at. But I've got ideas like crazy when it comes to art. Like, I'm so excited to do some things, and I've been using, like, personal events to really push my drive for these things. Like, for example, my brother's birthday's coming up on July, and there's the gift I want to give him is a banner that I want to make, but this would be the first banner that I make. So, like, it's also a way to test out a new way of making art and seeing if I enjoy it. Like, I have a vision in mind. I know what I want to make for him, and I am going to make this for him. For my mom, on Mother's Day, I made her a sweater. So, like, now I know that I genuinely enjoy and can make and put my art on clothes, which I've gotten, since I made that sweater, I've gotten 3 people asking me for these things. And I'm not expecting payment. It's just kind of, all right, these are people that want things. It's a way to inspire me to make art, take a picture, post it, and then also get someone out there wearing and promoting my shit. And I'm not looking for profit. I'm just looking for, at this point in my whole art journey, I'm looking more for something out of me than anything else. Like, well, I know that people like it. I know that people are willing to pay for it, but I got to be at a point of making it compulsively in order for myself to feel satisfied. Like, and that's what I'm super excited for. That's what I feel like is kind of on the horizon, is me finally making shit at a rate at which I'm satisfied. This whole banner thing, I'm excited to make banners. I'm excited to make clothes. And then digital is something that I'm also going really crazy with. I don't know if I told you, but I work at a screen printing place.
NFTs?
What's that?
Do you know how to make NFTs?
I am aware of what NFTs are. I don't know what is involved in the making of them.
We gotta figure it out. We'll talk after this for that, but we'll figure it out. We'll do some cool shit. But go ahead.
Definitely down, because I mean, I've looked up I've looked into that and fucking the amount of money in NFTs right now is insane.
It's money laundering, but continue.
Oh, that's genius too. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's why it's so popular. But
whoa, nuts. That means like people will buy your shit just to launder their shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
especially if you're like a famous Instagram artist already. Of course, they'll buy it for 69 million.
That's insanity.
Not to say that your stuff isn't amazing, people. Your shit's awesome, but it's money laundering.
But that's why like there's such a big market right now.
Anyone can have your art, people. Mm-hmm. Only one person can have a digital signature, I guess. But and that's also why they sold it for I think 200 million after that. So
fucking nuts. That's insanity. That's like literally like numbers. That's like.
Can you imagine if like tomorrow you woke up with 200 million?
Yeah, right. Like in my brain, I'm like, literally, I don't even know. I feel like
game over, done, cheat code.
Yeah, right. I feel like I'd buy like the 3 things that's been on my list for the past year.
You'd be like, no idea.
And then just sit and then just like put. I mean, I guess the rest goes in the bank.
You just break them and then buy them again, and then break them and then buy them again, just because you can. And like, you would never even notice.
Yeah, literally not even a dent. It's like shit. Like fuck. Yeah, that's crazy. Literally, a guitar, and there's like a $1,300 synth that like has been on my list forever. Literally, I'd buy those 2 things, and I'd just be like, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
I'd be like, the rest goes into savings. I'm like, yeah, all right. We're fine. Maybe get my car a nice detail. And fucking.
Yeah. I have a few things on my list. I have a few ideas. Like I want a compound.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a compound guy, huh? Like, it's not even a surprise. It's like, oh, this guy wants to fucking build a fort or something. But I want a compound next to a lake just so I can jet ski whenever I want. You know what I mean? Like
That's a dream.
Yeah, it's like I just wake up.
That's your shit, I feel.
And I can go jet ski?
Yeah.
Like, I won.
All right.
That's the lottery right there. Like,
With
that's
that being
the American dream. I can just go fucking...
With that being said, honestly, I'd probably quit my job and get...
I'd live off the interest my money makes.
Yeah, for sure. I'd quit my job, I'd get a studio, and then I feel like at that point, I'd just be able to explore all the... Like, I'd be comfortable. You know, it's not like, oh, I can't stay up all night doing this because I got work tomorrow. I'd be like, literally, I'd be like, fuck, I'm staying up till fucking 6 a.m. working on this piece because I finally can. And then that goes for however many dollars. And...
That's why I believe in UBI.
What's UBI?
Universal Basic Income. I don't know if our government's competent enough to pull it off. I don't think there's enough.
What is that? Just people do what they want and we profits out of each other? Or?
Yeah, so there's enough money that I feel like you tax billionaires like a fraction of a penny off of like transactions that they make, not even just like taxes. So there's like the reason there's so many billionaires is because they move money around in these like hedge funds. And so if you tax a fraction of a penny more, you can literally afford to pay for everyone's living expenses. They're moving
that's the
so
whole
much money around that a fraction of a penny in their tax increase, which is like less than like I think 1% of money that they're moving.
That's the whole like 1% of the population has like however many percent of the
That's why it's
income.
so outrageous to be a billionaire. Is if like literally $1 billion can feed everyone on the planet.
Yeah.
But
I've seen that. Like when they talk about like 1 million seconds versus 1 billion seconds, it's like 1 million seconds is like what? A week or something, and like 1 billion is like
32 years.
Yeah, like what? What?
A third of your life is gone. Yeah.
Fucking excuse me.
And and there's people who have hundreds of billions of dollars.
Fuck them.
And then there's like this thing that I watched.
Just a crumb.
Yeah,
just a crumb.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Dude, you wouldn't even know your money was gone, and you would save the planet.
Yeah.
You would still have billions of dollars, and the planet would be fine. But here's the other thing: is like I watched this thing about what $1 trillion is.
I don't get it though. I feel like spiritually, you have to be a fucked up human to not. You know what I'm saying? Like those 1%ers, they have to be like.
They want to retain their power. I think.
No, but they're fucked up. Like. to have that much power and to not do it is
I wonder sometimes like how insightful or self-reflective you have to be to understand that you have the ability to do
I feel like if you were granted that money tomorrow,
the world would be saved.
the second you got the money, you're like, yeah, take as much as it's going to take to save the world and then give me the rest. Like, I feel like
100%,
whatever's necessary to save the world, you wouldn't even consider yours. Like, that is a necessary, like, yeah, I got all this money.
Good. Like, it would be unbelievably evil for me to keep it.
Yeah, it's like, thanks for this. You know what's happening
that's a
next,
really good
right?
way to say it. That's like a really interesting thing because it's like, if you ask the average person, hey, if I gave you $1 billion,
but you had to give,
you can keep it, but just so you know, you could keep 100 million of that. But if you gave away the rest, the entire planet would be able to eat for a year. Would you do that?
A year?
It's not that long.
Nah, I feel like.
But then again, it's like you could eat for the rest of your life.
Yeah. No, 100%.
And you could literally make an exorbitant living off of the amount of money you have. You only need $4 million in a 7% interest fund to make, I think it's like 75 grand a year. 75 grand to 100 grand a year.
And that's more than you were making anyways.
So 4 million is all you need to literally live like the top percent of middle class Americans. So you would live like a scientist or a doctor and you would not have to work. Just based on interest. Now imagine you had 100 million left over after having $1 billion. And you've still fed the planet, and you could still make interest off of that money. And you're telling me I did the math once. You went to dinner with Bill Gates, right? If he makes like $1 billion a year. If you make $1 billion a year, you're making $10,000 a second. Could you imagine if he asked you to pay for dinner? He would have made more money.
There is a number of things
in lifetime at that dinner. $10,000 a second, you go to dinner for 2 hours. He made more than you will ever make in your entire life on average.
In 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. And he flips you the bill.
There's a number of things I would do before paying the bill.
Right?
like
$10,000 a second. If you make $1 billion a year, you make $10,000.
You know, like you in that moment, you can't murder the man. So like, I'd probably just walk away.
Yeah.
He'd be like, yeah, here's the bill. I'd be like, yeah, watch me walk. Mm-hmm. All right. Watching me walk is worth his time. It literally is. He's like making $10,000 a second.
Like almost $100K just by walking away. Yeah. Just the time it took for him to grab the check and get out his credit card, he lost money.
Fucking stupid. That's stupid money. That's crazy. It's crazy, and people like hear this shit and they don't take the time to like conceptualize it. Yeah, exactly.
They're too busy trying to make fucking $15 an hour and support a family of 3.
That's what I make, bro.
Like $15 an hour, support a family of 3. Good luck, dude. Good luck.
That's crazy. You're like, babe, can you please get a job?
Yeah. I gotta take care of the kids. Who's gonna take care of the kids? We gotta get a sitter. We got it. You're like, fuck.
Yeah, James just turned 16.
To put money into their college fund. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, fuck that.
Your kids getting fights at school and like.
Right, you gotta come home from your fucking
like, and then some dudes just balling out of control, making 10 grand a second.
Bro, $15 an hour,
and they're like, that's reasonable.
While some people are making
10 grand a second. Unfathomable amounts of money. And Bill Gates isn't even like the richest man, because no one talks about these Saudi princes who are trillionaires. There's trillionaires, and we don't talk about them because they have enough money to shut everyone the fuck up. People don't understand what money can do in a society that values it so much, in a world that values it so much. Now, so $1 trillion.
What is it even that we value? I don't. That's another thing that I don't understand. Like,
Are we supposed to value human connection? You know, it's like, doesn't money not afford human connection? Like, there's no amount of like money that's gonna get you an intimate conversation with somebody that's meaningful.
that's why I feel like art is just such a dope thing to get into because, like, I mean, obviously there are the people that like lowball you for your work, but there are some artists that I followed from the bottom to where they are now, and like for people to spend hundreds to thousands of dollars on an artist's art, it's not like I'm giving you this because you need it. I'm giving you this because you earned it. It's I want that because it was made by you. This is what it's worth to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get it and they like fucking hang it up and they're like proud of it. And they like, in their head, they're like, yeah, this is going to be worth however much one day. Like, yeah, it's kind of fucked up. It's not even
about how much it's worth one day.
It's like, about how much it's worth right now. Like, it's like,
it's just it's more than what it's worth. You're like, oh, it's like the money doesn't even consist of the value of the art. That's just like a way for us to categorize it so I can get it into my hands. The art itself is so much more valuable than
100%.
There's some things that like I would buy that there's no amount of money you could give me. Like, so if I made enough money or I didn't have to work again, there's like some art that I would get that I would never sell it. Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, 100%.
Like, there's no chance. It's like, because it's not why I got it.
Mm.
I got it because of a different reason.
And to create something that speaks to somebody on that level has got to be so rewarding. And like, that's why, like I said that one day where I just said, fuck it, I'm going to post everything I've got because
maybe one of these or
when I realized that like, it's not like good art that people are buying. It is a piece of literally my self-expression that people are buying. So like, I was like, this is what it is that I express. And with kind of like the acceptance of what my style was and what it is that I wanted to put out into the world came also a certain level of confidence and comfort with the level at which I create. Like, whether it looks good or not, like, this is what came out of my head. Like, it just feels, it's so rewarding.
You took something that didn't exist and now it exists.
Yes, that feeling right there.
And it's your closest approximation to what was in your head. Mm. That's why art's so frustrating for me, though. It's because, like, there's some things that, like I try to paint, and, like, sometimes I'm really good at painting. Mm. Sometimes I'm fucking awful. Like, literally, like, I can draw consistently well. Like, if I literally sit down and I draw things, I will consistently draw well. Mm. Or be able to draw what is in my head to an extent. I can get it on paper. With painting, it's a hit and miss every time.
Really?
Like right there, I painted that skull. I don't even like that skull, but the fucking black piece of shit next to it, that fucking like little tiny painting right there, the goat head. Dude, I spent longer on that fucking black piece of shit next to it than I did on that goddamn goat head. And I still can't go anywhere with it. I'm like, I cannot paint. Like, I don't know what it is. It's like sometimes I paint good and sometimes I paint like
I'll have to take a look at it. But for me, what's crazy is like, I'm surrounded by artists all the time, and artists that could like do things better than me. Like, for example, the goat head. Like, I could not in a million years. Like, when it comes to like shading and like taking something either that I see or something from my mind and putting it on paper, I can't. So like, for me, what I completely take out the possibility of being good or bad by not creating something real. Like, I'm not drawing a hand or a lip or like eyes, like,
you're drawing something
as if, dude.
Yeah.
My favorite thing to do is like if I was to start a painting tonight, what would I do? I'd take, like handfuls of paint and fling it at the canvas to get like organic shapes and like drips and like something that looks like it congeals together, and then go over that with something else. Like, I always turn something unpredictable
into something.
Into something. Like,
The
so
best
that
painting
way,
I did was like that.
yeah. So it's
It came
never
out
planned.
of the painting itself, and then I saw the thing that ended up being what it was.
Exactly. Like it never starts as anything. It just ends as what it is. And that,
I love that feeling. That's so much better.
Yeah.
That's so rewarding because then
that's my
you
style.
almost like find art. It's not even like you made it.
Yes.
Sometimes you're like,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, you like look up, you're like, whatever you guys did, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just did
legit.
some shit. It's like, thank you for letting me perceive a beautiful thing in that.
Yes, dude. That's exactly what it feels like. And to have someone enjoy that, because if you make art that way, if everybody made art that way, everybody's going to make something different. Like there's no, and then even if, if we flung art at a canvas and then we took the same canvas and then photocopied it and then gave you one and gave me one, we're both going to pull two different things out of that. So like, not only is it like,
It's because we're different fingers on the head of God.
exactly. Not only is it like the best, like to create something on your own, but also like to know that even if you did it twice, right? Like you took the same thing, photocopied, did it once, did it again, it's going to be different every time, which is like, I feel like the satisfaction that comes out of the way I like to make art sometimes. I'm not even an artist. I'm like an accidentalist.
If you could sum up art in one sentence, what would it be? Or one word you can pick.
Effort.
Effort.
I feel like my art is effortless. There's a lot of people that put a lot of effort into their art. I don't think effort is what makes you an artist, though. That's just what I sum up art to be. There's some people that look at my art and think it's shit. What is that, sir? What is that? I still see it. Do you see it?
Is it on my fucking
No, it's
glasses?
it's underneath the mic. Is that a spider?
Bro, dude, there's like these like little fucking bugs that like keep getting like fucking.
See it? Is that a spider? I think it's a spider. She's alright.
Yeah, I don't kind of heard it, but
Spiders are they symbolize rebirth and renewal and some other stuff. Something about the 8 legs and the 8 being with infinity. That's wild. You went to go hit it, and I was like,
well, when you said what is that, I thought you were like talking about what you were talking about, and I didn't know you saw me hit the thing. And so and then you're like, no, but like for real, I still see it. And I was like, oh, he's talking about that thing I just said.
yeah.
And that's not good.
No, art is effort. You know, there are a lot of people that make, like, there are a lot of people that make art effortlessly, and there are a lot of people that make, you know, like music, right? People say mumble rappers ain't shit, right? But like,
Some of it's good.
you got this person that put their heart into their, ballad that, gets 10K listens, and then you got the fucking homie that's like, and fucking, because he posted his shit on TikTok, is making millions. Who cares? Maybe it's not even about effort. It's about desire. It's like inner peace. Make what you want to make, and you get what you get for it. Whether it's, worth it to you or not is whether you keep on making it.
I like that. I think we should end there.
I'm comfortable with that.
Where can people find you?
Instagram at Polypleakley, spelled Polypleakley. Polly, and that fool from Lilo and Stitch.
Hell yeah. Oh, there's fucking spider. God damn. Nature's art.
Oh, for sure.
Spiders are maybe just trying to have a conversation. It's like, you guys are talking about some cool shit.
He's just chilling. Praying mantises go crazy.
Oh, dude, what if I just had like a praying mantis pet and it would always just sit on the mic with me?
Dude, that'd be fire.
He'd be like, stab it.
He's just having a snack.
Yeah.
No more spiders.
I would have to get one so he would eat all the spiders that get on my fucking microphone. All right. Thank you for joining me, Q.
Of course.
This has been a pleasure. Are we going to go to picnic? Are you still down?
Yeah. Why not?
Why not? We don't have to.
9:10.
But, okay. I have to be professional. Thanks, everybody. This has been The Go Show. Thank you for tuning in. Catch us next time. Many more to come. I'm sure Q will be a returning guest.
Oh, for sure.